in post-Soviet Russia. So there's an organization, part of the UN, called the IMF. Now, the IMF, most UN members are also members or like supporters of the IMF financially, but it is created by capitalists near the end of the Second World War. Its headquarters are in the US, and it's basically like a US creation. And what the IMF does is if your economy is in crisis, could be caused by anything, they will come in and they will offer you loans and they'll offer you money to save you from this crisis. But that has certain criteria, and probably the most damaging one is it means you have to like privatize your nationalized service and sell off the state to giant corporations, which are often foreign corporations. Now, sorry, just made a weird sound. That's what you're going to get with the one shot. I'm not going to cut anything. But what you see, you see a lot of this term thrown around when talking to China, the Chinese debt trap of Africa. Well, the IMF has actually done this to Africa for like far, far longer than anything China has conducted in Africa. Is that sub-Saharan Africa is one of the poorest countries in the world, obviously filled with civil strife, mainly because of foreign imperialism. But anyway, their economies will go bankrupt. The IMF will come in and be like, well, you're going to have to nationalize, you're going to have to like privatize everything. So all those rich natural resources, all those energy companies, public transport, health services, they're now fair game for private corporations. So what happened, obviously, in post-Soviet Russia was massive economic turmoil because of the death of the Soviet Union, which was just, filled with corruption, going through a hard time, which in hindsight doesn't look so bad when it comes to what it became. And then it transitions to this new country. So there's like referendums across the Soviet Union. Do you want to stay part of the Union? Most of the referendums are actually positive, I think in Russia and Ukraine, but they want to stay part of the Soviet Union. Doesn't really matter this time, it's dissolved. And what happens with the Russian Federation is they do have economic uncertainty. So the IMF comes in, but they have specific designs on Russia, which are even worse than most countries. They want to do something called shock therapy, and that's to, as quick as possible, transition this former very centralized and managed economy into a economy open. I wouldn't call it free market necessarily, but way more in that direction, and open for foreign business and open for foreign corporations, and basically open for Russian oligarchs to completely loot the country that they were living in. So what happens to the IMF is they come in as if like overnight, I think it took like maybe a couple of months, they completely destroy the Russian economy by implementing these policies. And that includes like privatization, that includes huge cuts to social programs. And this is the Soviet Union, by the way, which of course had more state programs than what we're used to in most countries. So it completely destroyed the old Soviet state in favor of these policies that obviously didn't benefit everyday Russians. I think life expectancy decreased by about 5 years in men between like 92 and 94, which is insane. Unemployment was absolutely crazy, and salaries basically halved while inflation like was times 1,000 or something. Like it was absolutely insane. And they made Russia a far worse place to live than the last days of the Soviet Union. Not just the height of the Soviet Union, we're talking about like the dire straits of the Soviet Union. Russia was way worse. And then people could say, oh, well, it had to go through this shock therapy, it had to go through these hard times to transition to this lovely and free democratic country. And of course, we've seen the way the Russian oligarchs cracked down on the Communist Party of Russia after the Soviet Union. It wasn't a democracy. It was a democracy in name. But then you had Boris Yeltsin, obviously leading this, basically controlled the media and basically allowed the oligarchs to loot the country. And Boris Yeltsin also personally picked Putin to be a successor for various different reasons, including that he was worried that he'd be prosecuted by the next president of Russia for things like corruption. And Putin allegedly told him that he'd leave him alone, which he pretty much did. And what you see today in Russia is the result of what happened. All the oligarchs that looted the country and picked the right side, mainly Putin's side, are the oligarchs that still control parts of Russia today. And it is this untouchable oligarchy with a sham democracy. And what you're seeing in the United States is comparable. Now, the funny thing about the United States is it wasn't going through drastic economic uncertainty and like the changing of an entire nation state into something different. Like very much economic uncertainty there. And I think Naomi Klein said shock therapy can sometimes also apply to capitalists taking advantage of tumultuous situations like conflicts or things like the death of the Soviet Union, as well as just like transitioning a centralized economy into this more free market one. And what's so funny about what the US is doing right now, it's doing shock therapy to itself. Like it's doing these crazy policies to enrich the 1%, like not because of any reason, just because they want to. With Russia, not that you could see the logic, but it was, you know, the UN coming in there, the IMF coming in there and being like, we're going to change this into a capitalist country after the fall of the Soviet Union. And not saying it makes sense, but there was obviously like a reason in some ways for that change to occur because it was ending an old style of government. But with the US, it's like so naked. And Russia is just like a perfect warning to all these countries. Austerity, cutting public spending, privatizing all things people need to live is going to end up in one thing. It's going to end up in an untouchable oligarchy which run the country forever, basically. And we're seeing this in the UK a bit more. It's far different in the UK because of the history, the class dynamics, but that's what austerity does. And the UK is also a great example. Privatise water companies, privatise post office, privatise public services, privatise energy companies. All of that stuff, they're not like an untouchable oligarchy because, you know, they're not the people running the country, but these companies are basically holding us all hostage and just like raising the prices all the time, right? So think of that in the UK, but in Russia's case, it's the people doing this also run the country. Where there is that like degree of separation, but now we're seeing in the US, but there's no degree of separation because part of the reason for it pursuing shock therapy on itself is that they want to give all this power to Elon Musk and they want to give all this money to Elon Musk. And obviously he's part of the reason, he's driving it. He funded Trump just like all these oligarchs funded Putin. And you can very much see it in that way. You can see with the death of the Soviet Union, for all the problems, it became something far worse. And we're seeing that with the US right now. Obviously, I've said consistently the US is the most evil country on earth. And for all its problems, right, they're changing it into something far worse for its citizens. We don't know about foreign policy in the long term. There are some good aspects to what they're doing in terms of just kneecapping the US's influence, which I think is a good thing. But at the same time, even that is all done to just cut everything to enrich this increasingly untouchable 1% in America. And that's why you see all these oligarchs who constantly like talk shit about Trump before, they're all bending the knee because they realize the direction it's going. It's becoming post-Soviet Russia. And what, just like post-Soviet Russia, the suffering of Americans is going to be like previous levels of unimaginable. Like people are just going to keep going, what the fuck is happening as the US government constantly slashes everything. And they're driven even more by ideology because, like I said, with Russia, it was like after this tumultuous period, the US doing shock therapy to itself is literally driven by the greed of a couple of them, but also the libertarian economics of a few of them as well. So there is something underpinning it where they want to completely dismantle the state. But that's been the goal of the US Republican Party since the 1980s. Obviously, like the Koch brothers believed in this as well, major Republican backers. Ronald Reagan did this too. It's just the complete deregulation of the United States to sell it off to corporations. And like I said, Russia is the warning to everyone. People who like still say like Russia's communist and all this other stuff, it's just a complete joke. It's an oligarchy, right? Which is pretty much the opposite. It's run by people who profit of everyone's needs for survival. And I don't really know if this is going to be even worse than Russia. I mean, I think because of like the system in America, and if it was breaking up, like if the states were breaking up, maybe you could say it could be on that level. There is some degree of separation between the states and the federal government. So there could potentially be not as disastrous consequences for some states. But at the same time, like I said, capitalist economics is never good for anyone. It's good for the 1%. And at this point, I don't even really see many people defending capitalism at this point because we all know it's terrible and we all know what happened in Russia, what's happened to the UK, under the Tory government and continuing with Labour, and what's happening to the US right now, that is the end goal for all capitalists. There is no, like, thinking for the future. No one in the American government right now doing all these cuts is thinking, well, what if it decreases life expectancy? What if it massively increases unemployment? What if it just, like, destroys the country? They don't give a shit. And that's the thing. They don't give a shit. And unlike Putin, who I think is motivated by some sort of, like, nationalism, these Americans, they don't even give a shit about that. Like, there is no thing about making America, like, great and strong and rebuilding it. They don't care. They literally just will destroy it and leave. And I don't think Americans really realize what's happening. And just like how the Communist Party was destroyed in Russia, and they offered way more effective opposition to Yeltsin than the Democrats. The Democrats are not prepared for this moment. And like we've said many times, I think a lot of the Democrats personally might be horrified, but they still serve the same masters as the Republicans. So the limits of their opposition are always going to be, like, really strong. They're never going to do anything. Like, you saw it with those stupid signs the other day. They're never going to stand up to Trump because ultimately they serve the same masters in terms of what they believe in foreign policy, in terms of domestic policy. The whole US system is bought. But what's going to happen, and I fully believe this now, which I probably wouldn't believe before, Joe Biden was warning about an oligarchy, which is funny because the US has been an oligarchy in many respects for many years. But he was warning about that when he left office. It would have been nice if you actually spoke about that a bit more and maybe did something about it because you were the fucking president. But what is going to happen with the US, I feel like there's never going to be a proper election again. And I feel like even people like Elon Musk, as a nightmarish as this sounds, I could imagine him being like this Roman Abramovich type figure that's just around for years and years. Like, he's never going to leave the inner circle of the government. And it could be J.D. Vance next, right? Because Donald Trump might not serve a third term, even though they're floating that now. And if it's J.D. Vance, that's 2 more terms. And then it's going to be someone else and someone else. And the Democrats are paid to lose at this point. They're paid to lose. And their lack of opposition, not that they're being, like, given a brown paper envelope saying don't do anything, but it's like because they serve the same masters of capital, their opposition is never going to be strong. And they're going to let Republicans do that. Like, if they sincerely believe that Donald Trump is going to make America into Russia or even Germany in the 1930s, do you honestly think they'd be doing what they're doing? They don't actually believe that, or they're paid not to care. So I'm sorry to my American friends, but we're all going through it right now. And I spoke about the UK. We're like this too. Don't pretend like people in the UK that because Keir Starmer's the Prime Minister, we have like a rosier outlook. The US is just further along. And the US is taking inspiration from post-Soviet Russia to create this untouchable elite where the nation state will go on functioning like with bare bones. But everything that was previously run for not a profit incentive, like post office, social security, is going to be run by private companies for a profit and is going to be made completely worse for just the experience of using those things. And please, someone in the comments, if you can defend capitalism at this point, like, go on. Like, I'll pin your comment. I'll pin the best argument for capitalism. I will pin it. And it can't be about socialism being bad. Please make an argument for capitalism, how it's both better for human life and better for the planet. I don't think anyone could make a coherent argument at this point. So that is it for the video. Pretty long one for my first one shot. I guess I had a lot to talk about. Let me know what you think of this format. Let me know what you just think about what I've said. And let me know down in the comments, Americans, how you're feeling. And yeah, that is it for the first episode.
By the way, E is actively calling for your upcoming video to be brigaded. Make sure Theo knows how you feel about hosting a terrorist-adjacent creator. Yeah, Ethan Klein is such a moron. He doesn't even realize that Theo Von quite literally had Candace Owens before me. He's so one note. He's so stupid and so clearly not invested in anti-Semitism whatsoever. I did not even know that Theo Von had Candace Owens on before me, for the record. Theo Von's not going to give a shit, dude. This is the perfect demonstration of someone who does not give a about actual anti-Semitism and only cares about attacking me by saying I'm a terrorist-adjacent creator. You're so stupid, dude. Like, if you cared about stopping anti-Semitism, I don't think you would actively try to censor me, you moron, you would probably try to censor people who are actually engaging in anti-Semitism. Bro took a screenshot of your minute the minute it was posted. Yeah, 1 minute in. Holy it's so crazy. He is just so one note. How the does his audience not recognize this, dude? How does his audience not understand that this is a person who is hell-bent on not actually combating anti-Semitism, but instead is directly just personally looking to attack me every step of the way? Also, this is actively trying to brigade any podcast appearance that I engage in. I'm gonna be honest with you. The commentary community that actively the commentary community that avoids talking about this topic when they would have made basically a million videos about any other content creator that extends in the, that engages in this extended crash out, you're fraudulent. You don't want the smoke. I get it. You're a little cowardly. I'll say it. This man has become my one-man Keemstar. Are they brigading? I mean, you bet your ass as soon as the podcast comes out, he's gonna post it and be like, go tell him how you feel about hosting a terrorist. Did he brigade Bad Hasbara? No, of course not. You want to know why? Because Bad Hasbara is not like an apolitical space. God forbid he sends his audience to Bad Hasbara and they watch the podcast and learn something. That's the problem. Ethan is terrified of people who are more knowledgeable than he is. And the only thing that he'll do against someone who is more knowledgeable than he is just isolate them and try to actively brigade every single area that I appear in. And when it doesn't work, because these people go, okay, dude, what the are you doing? Calm down. When these people turn around and say, like, I thought the podcast was good. I don't know why you're freaking out like this. He just loses his mind. At what point do you get a restraining order? It doesn't work that way. We're public figures, chatter. Stop. Also, I'm not a baby, all right? I'm not Ethan Klein. I'm not going to, like, cry about every single person, like random commenters and try. Like, can you imagine me trying to actively dox, like, random former fans? Like, that's insane. Do you know how many YouTube videos that would have been made in this situation? The reason why he's saying the reason why he has to slant his manic, pathological obsession with me under the guise of like combating anti-Semitism is because he is nakedly and insanely obsessed. That's it. He's lost hundreds of thousands of subs at this point, and he can't let it go. In his mind, he has to justify it. He has to turn around and say, like, nah, it's 100% because, like, Hassan turned my community against me. It's so wild, dude. I've said time and time again, I wish him well. And I still do, because I know that if he were to get better, he would just, like, stop doing this shit and stop going down this weird rabbit hole. Have you seen him lying about this yet? Like, why? Is his podcast just talking about me? What the is this? Ethan Klein lied about Hassan's no other land coverage. When I see Hassan talking about it, zero mention of the Israeli partner. Hassan talked about Yuval and Ethan didn't even know the interview was in person. Like, this is what I mean. Why? It's like very simple shit to fact check. Does Ethan's community not give a I don't understand.
Seen Hassan talking about it. Zero mention of the Israeli partner. And when he I'm not saying, I don't know what happened, but he interviewed the Palestinian guy and the Israeli wasn't on the call. They raised a bunch of money.
It wasn't a call. It was in person. And Yuval, who I am trying to get on the show, by the way, was flying in.
A call. They were there.
Why is he? Why? Oh my God. I'm glad that someone is fact checking him. Holy shit. Yeah, loser Hassan is so funny to say in this situation. In person.
They were there where in person?
At Hassan's house.
So the Palestinian director.
Look at Dan's face. I didn't know Ethan was gonna have so many Joe Rogan, Jamie-ass moments, dude. Hey, Jamie, fact check that. My man looks exhausted, dude. Holy shit.
So the Palestinian director showed up at his house.
Correct.
Anyone else was with him?
There were. To be frank, I haven't watched it. I just saw that he had him on the day before. So
yeah, there was a couple of guys in there in the room.
It could be the Israeli guy was like, "Fuck Hassan, I'm not going there." But I doubt.
Oh, I'm wrong? Okay, let's double down. Oh, it could be that the guy hates him.
I think if he had a problem with Hassan, the other guy probably wouldn't have gone either. They're like homies.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But yeah, I think Hassan. I think it's interesting how Hassan just pretends like this wasn't made by half is made by an Israeli.
we do all of that, most of our activism together. Yeah.
So let me ask you about that actually, because so Yuval Abraham played a role in this, in the making of this documentary. I've actually really admired his work for a long time at 972 Magazine, Local Calls, another one that does a lot of investigative reporting on all of the horrible things that the Israeli military is doing.
So anyway, it's just this really inspiring story of a joint venture between, you know, an Israeli and a Palestinian. Or
it's just like, there's no way that Ethan's community sees this stuff, right? There's no way that they are aware that he is just literally lying every single day. Apparently, he talks about me every single day. I didn't realize he was just like only talking about whatever the fuck I'm doing. How does this end with him? Like, genuinely is scary. I think he's like a cyber stalker. He's gonna find a new victim eventually and move on. And I will be relegated to I don't know, one of the voices that they use on the soundboard eventually, every now and then. There's a segment now bitching about you called the War Room. Oh my god. Oh, I think also hyper focusing this on this kind of shit, like when Donald Trump is actively ruining the country and perhaps the planet, is additionally funny. But it's just like what we just showed. You know, you're not serious about anti-Semitism. You're just simply saying that you care about anti-Semitism because otherwise most people would look at you and go, "Oh, you're just like pathetically obsessed with this person." It's very weird. Yeah, the H3H3 is turned into the Hassan Hate Hour. That's the 3 H's. Hassan Hate Hour. They trolled him with that segment by playing the title card soundbite over and over again. I like to believe they're subconsciously telling him how ridiculous he's being. I don't fucking know. Do you warn whoever you're collaborating that this brigading shit can happen? I didn't in the past, but I probably should warn people because like he's just always going to go after anyone and everyone that I collaborate with, I think. You have a bad habit of bringing streamers and industry colleagues onto your platform who are shills and snakes, dude? Yeah, I'm never gonna stop assuming the best in people. I don't give a shit, you know? That is a principle that I'm going to maintain. Getting fact-checked by his own crew.
He's closer to them than he is to Jeff Bezos.
I'm closer to your guys'
What the I'm not watching this, dude. Ethan Klein criticizes Hassan for saying he's closer to these incarcerated firefighters than Elon Musk, while at the same time not knowing how much they get taken advantage of, saying they shouldn't push for more pay. Yeah, I saw this before.
It's just such a reach, man. Like, I know there's a lot of dumb people out there, and there's a lot of people that just hate Hassan, and hating Hassan is an industry, and so people can make videos about Hassan and get like hundreds of thousands of views. But this is insane. So I was trying to record this video this morning. It's really dumb. It's really dumb, man. I wish that Ethan Klein spoke in a little bit of more concrete terms. The stuff he says is just all feelings. It's all of these tiny little minute, like microaggressions that he's picking up on from Hassan, and then he's just channeling it into himself and he's like spewing it out on here, and he just doesn't have anything meaningful to say. It's nothing meaningful. It's like, oh, Hassan made a note. Hassan went like, at a point where Hassan goes, and then like Hassan's bad. And I genuinely think that Ethan Klein is spiraling right now because he is losing a lot of subscribers. Like at the end of the year, he like brought up the number of subscribers he lost, and I think they lost like like 10% of their subscribers year to year. They lost something like that. Like a significant amount, an amount that got him fired up. And then when he made that post targeting the Snark subreddit, he's like, you guys have attacked my family, you've tortured my family, my wife, my children, and my career. It's like, okay, dude, that's where it's coming from. Like, Ethan Klein's career is not going that well, and I think he's really just crashing out a little bit, looking for people that he can blame for this failure. And I think that he thinks if he can stick on this I hate Hassan train, he can somehow salvage his career. I really think he thinks of it as a zero-sum game where if he's able to take Hassan down a peg or two, that's going to elevate his own standing by result. And to be honest, like, he has gotten attention for this months-long crash out at this point. Okay, let's just get into this. This is brutal.
Hi again, everyone. I'm back with a little update for you guys regarding Hassan. First of all, I want to thank everyone for watching the content nuke and enjoying it. And I'm glad to see that a lot of people have really resonated.
I'm gonna be real petty about this reaction.
With the message. One of those people, unfortunately, is not Hassan Piker.
It's just like a poor choice of words. He's like, one of those people is not Hassan Piker. Well, all of the people that watch your video is not Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker is not one of those people. Okay.
Who has continued to spread propaganda and even elevated his brazenness.
Okay, so once again, I'm gonna be very petty in here. Ethan makes the claim that Hassan is spreading propaganda and is elevating his brazenness. Let's see if he can back up this thesis.
Take, for example, the tragic story of the Bibas family. The dad, 2 kids, and the mom were all taken hostage on October 7th after the grandparents were in their home. The children, 8 months and 3 years old, was kidnapped with their mom, and the dad was kidnapped separately.
One thing about that is it's weird that he gets their names wrong. He says it's 8 months and 3 years old. It's a 4-year-old son, Ariel, and 9-month-old son, Kafur. So even when he's trying to do this whole like Hassan's bad because he's making light of this situation, he's spreading misinformation. Those ages are not correct. Like, I looked into this video because I thought he was gonna have sources down here, but he doesn't. Like, I'll show you guys my sources. It's like I didn't do that much research, but it's a 9-month-old son and 4-year-old, and Ethan says it's 3 and 8 months. Okay.
The children and their mom in captivity, and recently just returned their corpses to Israel. Let's take a look at how Hassan reacted to this tragic update.
As music blares, fighters carry the coffins of 4 dead Israeli hostages, 2 of them children, the youngest to have been abducted.
Okay, so this is a point that I was thinking of in my last stream, but it's like, okay, so people are criticizing for making this into an event, like it's a hostage release, even if they're corpses. It's a political thing, right? I'm just curious, how would people that are criticizing this want them to be more respectful? Like, no cameras at all. We wouldn't even have this like overhead drone footage recording this. People with guns not there. I mean, it's a militant group. Do you think the IDF doesn't carry guns when they release their hostages? Is it the stage that they find disrespectful? Is it the picture of Netanyahu as a vampire with like the images of the family? Once again, that's not a, like, the Netanyahu, the vampire, might be disrespectful to Netanyahu. I guess, is it the music they're playing? We can't really hear the music here, but Ethan seemed to have an issue with the music there. Like, if it's the stage, okay, you don't want a stage, but are they just going to be taken directly out of the tunnels into the Red Cross? You still would have a crowd of people standing there watching it. Make it make sense to me. Obviously, I think Ethan's being a little racist here, to be honest. I think that Ethan sees, and it's not overtly disrespectful, and you can't overtly criticize it. You also can't immediately refute the claims that Netanyahu's bombs were responsible for killing them. And so he just reaches in and grabs a little handful of racism that he can throw out there. He calls it a parade. He says that the music's disrespectful. He says that is controlling like the global media. This is all kind of racist. It's all kind of racist. It's calling a group of people standing in an orderly fashion, taking pictures, a parade, and like a festival type atmosphere. It's a little bit racist, man.
Hostages, 2 of them children, the youngest to have been abducted on October the 7th. On stage, an offensive propaganda message blaming Prime.
Offensive propaganda message? Offensive propaganda.
I'm gonna give Ethan the benefit of the doubt here, even though in a second he's going to completely shatter that. Could the narrator have been talking about the picture of the 4 dead hostages with Netanyahu and called that offensive? Yes, I think the narrator could have been talking about that. Could, in this shot where Ethan zooms in, be talking about the image of the hostages? He could. It's a weird zoom in though, because it doesn't include the demonic Netanyahu that's overshadowing them. And that seems like it would be the most offensive part. Like if we're talking about the image, he's just zooming in on their faces, which doesn't seem offensive at all. Maybe the red vignette around them is what Ethan thinks is offensive. All of those things could be true. They're not true. They're not true. Rewind, and we can read the message right here. The war criminal Netanyahu and his army killed them with missiles from Zionist warplanes. So we can use context clues and infer that's the message that the narrator is talking about. We can also use context clues to realize that's what Hassan was laughing to, right? So we have this pretty like one-track direction so far. It's like things are linking up nicely. We're in the same direction. Then Ethan Klein comes in and he just takes it in a completely left turn. Let's play.
Offensive propaganda message. Offensive propaganda message. Offensive propaganda message.
So Ethan zooms in on the coffins. It's just such a reach, man. Like, I know there's a lot of dumb people out there, and there's a lot of people that just hate Hassan, and hating Hassan is an industry, and so people can make videos about Hassan and get like hundreds of thousands of views. But this is insane. Hassan laughing at the narrator saying that Netanyahu's bombs these people is an offensive propaganda message, and then Ethan Klein taking that clip, running with it, and saying that Hassan is laughing because 4 people were is a new level of low. This seems to be deliberately bad faith. How do you get Hassan literally saying, huh, offensive propaganda message, and then you think he said, huh, and he like snorted a little bit in amusement? He must be laughing at the 4 people that were and the 4 coffins that are being returned to Israel. Okay.
Hassan has it in his heart somehow to laugh at the coffins of 2 slain children at the hand.
I mean, dude, you can't make this up. Hassan's like, it's not even like Hassan just says, and then lets the video keep playing. He literally repeats the line that he found amusing. He's like, offensive propaganda message. And then Ethan's like, I know you just explained what you're laughing at, but you were laughing at the coffins of these dead children.
Of a violent terrorist organization. According to the forensic experts, the children were strangled to death at the hands of, likely because they didn't know how to take care of 2 young kids in captivity for 2 years. So instead of taking care of them, they chose to them.
Let me just look this up. So this is the IDF spokesperson. There was a doctor that took a look at them and did a forensic analysis, and then there was also the IDF spokesperson. So the IDF said Friday that forensic examinations have revealed the Palestinian terrorists children Ariel and Kafir Bebis with their bare hands. So we can take a look at this BBC article. And by the way, Israel said that they shared the forensics, and they have not, at least not with the BBC. On Friday, Israel said that the 2 children of Shir Bebis had been with bare hands, and that evidence of this had been sent to Israel's partners around the world. The BBC has not seen or verified of this evidence. So if you look up, did strangle the Bibis children, there's nothing. Ethan's just making that up out of whole cloth. Israel says that they killed them with their bare hands. I mean, I don't know where Ethan's coming up with that. Like, we looked at the Times of Israel. It doesn't say anything about strangling. And I'm pretty confident in saying Ethan Klein just made that up out of whole cloth. And then he says that the reason they killed them is because they didn't want to take care of the children, which, once again, has gotten, like, hundreds of Palestinians out of the IDF, out of Israel, for each prisoner. So each hostage is worth a lot to in captivity. Why would the mother be? Why would the old man be? Why would the Palestinian woman's body be returned instead of Shiri Bibis's body? This is all consistent with the safe house which these hostages were being kept in got bombed, and some civilians, like some Palestinians, were also in the bombing, and their bodies were mixed up. Obviously, we don't have any evidence for this, and we really just have word against Israel's word. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to immediately trust Israel's word on this matter. Israel has a a history of lying about how many people they. Let's continue this video. So anyway, Hassan laughing because of this offensive message, which Ethan takes to mean that that he's laughing at these kids being, which just shows how far gone Ethan is. Dude, Ethan probably actually thinks that Hassan would kill him. Like, I feel like that's the reason Ethan's not talking to Hassan anymore, because Hassan just hates Jews so much that whenever he sees a Jew, he wants to kill him.
The war criminal Netanyahu and his army them with missiles from Zionist warplanes. What are we doing? There is no lie here. This is correct.
Hassan wants us to believe that the only thing wrong with this is that they called him an, right? Obviously.
No, he doesn't, dude. He calls. Once again, man, Ethan's so lost in the sauce. Where does he come up with this? Like, that's not what Hassan said at all. He just said everything in there was correct. He's like, that's objectively correct. And Ethan's like, okay, well, Hassan thinks that, like, them calling them goes too far. Bro, what the? They literally have concentration camps in Israel right now. They're literally doing ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. This is actually crazy. Just inserting words and meanings into things that aren't there. Like, this is like schizophrenic type behavior.
It's the way that they're parading around this family of these children, these innocent children.
When he says they're parading around the coffins, what does he mean by that? I want him to be more specific. Is it that they lined them all up onto a stage? Is so they could have like a media opportunity? Like that's what it is, right? It's a media opportunity. I don't know, it looks like they gave a speech with this table. They have missiles that they claimed Netanyahu did. They have the whole backdrop too. This is a media opportunity for them to give their message. So he doesn't want to have any type of media opportunity. And then he says they're parading them around. Well, they have them on the stage and then they're picking them up and bringing them to the Red Cross vehicles. Doesn't seem like they're doing a whole lot of parading. Ethan just doesn't want to have any kind of like positive media whatsoever, because I guess he thinks that's anti-Semitic now.
Really not see the tastelessness in this? The disrespect? Take a look at his chat. It's no better. The truth is offensive, has the best fits.
To the slain Israeli family, Rip Bozo.
What the is happening? He's just making stuff up to add it to this video to try to make Hassan look as bad as possible. Like, Hassan didn't say anything bad. He literally just went, and then read the line. Some guy writes Rip Bozo into the chat. Oh my God. I'm gonna lose my mind. Ethan says he just adds it. He just makes it up out of nowhere. That the person saying Rip Bozo was referring to the slain Israeli family. There's a few things wrong with it. One, that simply didn't exist, and I guess Ethan was too lazy to go back and look up the context for that comment, Rip Bozo. Two, it's not even grammatically right. Wouldn't he say Rip Bozos if he's referring to multiple people? Three, is that the worst you can find? Someone saying Rip Bozo in the chat, and he's like, look, to all of the Jews that have died, Rip Bozo. In his Friday episode, one of his producers was like, oh, I saw someone say Nosferatu with like N-O-S-E Feratu. Like it's like they have big noses, get it? And then they looked in chat and they didn't say that at all. They literally just said Nosferatu because it's a vampire movie that came out recently and they painted Netanyahu to look like a vampire. They're like, oh my God, there's like anti-Semitic monsters hiding everywhere that we need to... Like, they're just making... Dude, there's enough... Like, Elon Musk is literally sig-hailing. The entire Republican Party has just adopted the salute because they think it's funny. And you're making up. This is not serving you.
Dude, it was a family. Correction. Settlers. Implying that children born in Israel deserve to be slaughtered.
I mean, I guess that's one way you can take it. Yeah, I don't think that... they're implying that, and Hassan has literally said the settlers in Israel are not valid military targets. Ethan is the one that said settlers in the West Bank are valid military targets. So what, he'd be fine with a baby born in the West Bank being... Like, dude, let's just have some moral consistency, and this is the issue that supporting an ethno-state will get you. You either have to be pro or have all of these inconsistencies. If you're like east of this arbitrary line that we just drew in the sand, then you're a valid military target. But if you're basically helping enforce the occupation of Gaza and enforce the open air prison, then you're not a settler, I guess, because rules, I guess.
You'll notice that there is overwhelming support and zero respect shown for the dead children. Notice here, however,
I think this really shows how just how departed Ethan is from this actual conflict, where he's tearing up over 4 people that were killed, and he's getting so emotional about these people that were killed by Israel or in captivity. I mean, it's absolutely, this is the darkest you can really get in humanity. Just getting captured, getting either bombed to death, or however the IDF claims did it. If you're showing this much emotion for 4 people being, you are really not covering the atrocities that Israel is doing in Palestine whatsoever. And I think this is the big issue that I have with Ethan's coverage of this. I mean, we'll see later on in this video, he always talks about how we need to have our heart bleed for both sides of the conflict, because if you only care about one side of the conflict, then the conflict's never going to end. It's like, okay, have you looked at how many Palestinians have been tens of thousands of people dead under the rubble of Palestine? I think that if Ethan was aware of all of this death and destruction, and he didn't just chalk it up and like bundle all of these atrocities up into one word of, which he then uses to make jokes about how Hassan is unable to deal with his criticism. He literally uses as a joke. If he was actually aware of all of this and he was forced to reckon with the facts rather than just being like, yeah, I know there's I'm against that. I don't think Ethan understands the scale of the death and destruction that Israel has put out there, because if he did, I think he would have a different perspective on these 4 people that were. Once again, the 4 people that were, their deaths are completely and utterly tragic. But when you've been covering this for as long as Hassan has, he's not going to be fazed by 4 coffins of people that were dead like 8 months ago. And you can call him callous if you want, but trying to say that he's anti-Semitic because he didn't shed a tear for this just shows how unequipped you are to actually cover this conflict.
Defended Hassan. Watch how quickly this gets moderated out of his chat.
Yeah, including Guardian, BBC, and other Western...
There it is. It's gone. Hassan claims he has no control over how his chat is moderated, apparently. Yet, 90% of it is people celebrating the death of...
Guys, I got banned from the H3 subreddit because I was DMing people asking them if they wanted to participate in the debate with me. That's not a criticism of Ethan. I'm literally trying to engage the audience and give them a platform to talk about their ideas, and I got banned from the subreddit. Ethan is a mod on his subreddit, and he's getting mad about a random gray name chatter getting their comment deleted. Like, dude, this guy is so petty.
And the one person that has even the slightest bit of pushback is immediately mod.
That's not pushback. That's literally not pushback. You can say that he was like trying to challenge Hassan, but that's not pushback. He just says defend it. Okay.
After laughing over the corpses of slain children, Hassan continues to guzzle Hamas propaganda, and this reaction that I can only describe as nauseating. Take a look.
Now let's take a look at how the hostages were released. I wonder if Western media will actually show the release videos, because there was some interesting sites that were disconcerting for the Israeli state and their project overall, but let's see.
Omer was among 6 released by in Gaza this morning. The 6 are the last living hostages to be returned in this ceasefire's first phase. The 22-year-old was paraded on stage. He'd been kidnapped from a music festival, and yet remarkably, he kissed 2 of the men who had been...
I hope he said no homo after, bro. Straight up. Hey, Hassan, please give us your take. I mean, it's the same as the dudes who dapped up the dudes. The dudes who dapped them up in the first ceasefire, do you not remember? And everybody freaked the out about it, and they were like, oh, they must be drugged. He's giving them drugs. And that's why they're dabbing him up. Gave them the drugs that make you dab up. It turns out that there is a new, even scarier drug out there that has in their hands. It's called the drug that makes you kiss.
That drug is called a gun to your head. And it's so painfully obvious of a concept, I feel nauseated even having to say it.
Here you can see the head propagandist giving the hostage instructions. The hostage looks to his side to make sure he understands.
I love this play-by-play analysis from Ethan. I mean, dude, like, listen, was the guy forced to kiss him? Yeah, I think he was. Like, he literally said it. I mean, it's just funny that Ethan plays the clip of Hassan saying, like, oh, I hope he said no homo afterwards, because that's actually kind of a funny joke. Like, I'll give Ethan this point. They did not give this guy a drug to make them kiss him. They told him to kiss the people.
Then the propagandist leans in to explain the strategy to the two terrorists on his left. And right on cue, the hostage leans in to kiss not one, but the two of them. It's clear to anyone with a functioning brain that this was not done out of affection for his captors.
Of course, we don't need to even look at the footage. Just ask the hostage what he thought. Here's the hostage who was kissing.
I guess he's just like doing a character assassination on Hassan, but I mean, the way it was set up, the video made it look like it was a spur of the thing moment, right? The guy didn't say, and now one captor says to him that he has to kiss another captor. Just saying, when Hassan watched that, he didn't have the context of the guy saying afterwards, yeah, they made me do it.
On the head. In Hebrew, it says, I had no choice. The dogs made me do it. Hassan thought this was such a great point. He even took to his Discord to share his thoughts. First, they had the drug that makes you dab. Now they have one that makes you kiss. I'm losing my mind. I
mean, what's the point here? Hassan watched a guy kiss someone and then made a joke about it and is like, oh, people are going to say that he was drugged and forced to kiss Moss. When people have been released from prisons and then they're like, oh yeah, we weren't treated that badly. Israel does not like that at all. And so basically Hassan was just trying to say that there's going to be propaganda saying that like he was forced to do this, or counter propaganda essentially. It's literally just like a propaganda war. Ethan Klein's right about that. But what, you're criticizing Hassan for consuming the propaganda? He also consumes Israeli propaganda too. I guess he could have been more critical and said, oh yeah, he's probably forced to do that. I don't really have anything more to add on to this, but we'll continue this.
Don't know who else to share this info with. A good place to start would be a therapist. The next best place would maybe be the NSA. More excerpts from the hostages say that they were forced to drink seawater, that they were giving rotten food, and that they were held in cages, or as Hassan likes to call it, hospitality. What gracious hosts they are.
Bro, every time they're releasing hostages, the next wave they're gonna be like, actually, I'm good. Like, I'm staying.
Well, I'm happy that the content noob was able to make its way around.
Okay, so we have to pause it there because, I mean, this is insane, man. So Ethan's saying that, like, Hassan, I guess, is just eating up propaganda. We can take a look at some more of the hostage conditions. So the initial 24 hostages were all reported to be in good condition. Later, it was reported that most were in good physical shape, but some had been ordered to remain in hospital. Female hostages testified that they were assaulted and tortured by members who captured them. According to the Hostages and Missing Families Forum, female hostages were held in cages. Few of the released hostages have spoken of their experiences. Those who have recounted being kept in crowded spaces with little electricity and without mattresses. The hostages were fed in very sparse portions, with some being given a single piece of bread per day or small amounts of chicken, rice, bread, canned hummus, cheese, and tea. Some child hostages were reportedly forced to watch footage of the October 7th attacks. A 78-year-old released hostage told Channel 13, "We were okay." During a reportedly contentious meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, one released hostage stated that the hostages were terrified that it would be not but Israel that would kill us. So was it a good stay? No, it was not a good stay. There was torture, there was abuse, there was a lack of food, water, medication, the essentials that were not able to shower. However, some people, like, as I said before, uses these prisoners as political bargaining chips. They're not going to try to kill their prisoners. One thing that we need to take a look at is the treatment of hostages that Israel has. Condemns Israel for deaths that brought Palestinian prisoner death toll to 58 since it began in October 2023. So when Ethan Klein talks about how propaganda is infiltrating the West and so many, or I guess the brutality of killing these 4 people with their bare hands, and I guess 6 that they executed in tunnels. 58 Palestinians have died in Israeli concentration camps since it began in October 2023. Accused Israel on Thursday of systematically abusing Palestinian prisoners following the deaths of 2 detainees from the Gaza Strip in Israeli prisons. The martyrdom of prisoners Sharif al-Asali and Ibrahim Ashur in the occupation's prisons once again confirms the criminal brutality of Israel in dealing with detainees and its disregard for all humanitarian values and international laws. He contrasted Israel's treatment of Palestinian detainees with how it handles Israeli prisoners, saying Palestinian resistance groups abide by international laws and ethical principles. Well, I mean, they treat prisoners basically the same way the United States treats its prisoners. Al-Kano urged human rights organizations to act urgently to protect Palestinian detainees from Israel's sadistic and racist policies. 3 Palestinian prisoner rights organizations confirmed Wednesday the deaths of al-Asali and Ashur. So, 2 Palestinians died. 58 detainees have died in Israeli custody, including 37 from Gaza, marking the deadliest period for Palestinian prisoners since 1967. Released Palestinians describe worsening abuses in Israeli prisons. Frequent beatings, overcrowding, withholding of basic rations. Released Palestinians have described to the Associated Press worsening abuses in Israeli prisons, crammed with thousands detained since the war in Gaza began 10 months ago. Israeli officials have acknowledged that they have made conditions harsher for Palestinians in prisons, with hardline National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir boasting that prisons will no longer be summer camps. I'm sure Israeli prisons were just a breeze before October 7th. 4 released Palestinians told the AP that treatment had dramatically worsened in prisons run by the ministry since the October 7th attacks that triggered the latest war between Israel and Gaza. Some emerged from months of captivity emaciated and emotionally scarred. A 5th prisoner, Muazzaz Abad, was too weakened to detail his experience soon after his release in July, following 6 months at southern Israel's Nakab prison. Frail-looking and unable to focus, he could only muster the strength to speak for several minutes, saying he was regularly beaten. Now at home, the 37-year-old can hardly leave his armchair. Man, this guy's 37. At night, he hallucinates and stands in the middle of the house in shock or remembering the torment and pain he went through. Like many of the detained, he was put under administrative detention, a procedure that allows Israel to detain people indefinitely without charge. That's what I would call a hostage. The AP cannot independently verify the accounts of the prisoners, but they described similar conditions even though they were held separately. While Abayat was only able to speak briefly, the other 4 spoke to the AP at length when one requested anonymity for fear of being rearrested. Their accounts match reports from human rights groups that have documented alleged abuse in Israeli detention facilities. Alarm among rights groups over the abuses of Palestinian prisoners has mainly focused on military facilities. A desert base where Israeli military have arrested 10 soldiers on suspicion of a Palestinian detainee. The detention facility at the base has held most of the Palestinian season raids in the Gaza Strip since the war began. The soldiers, 5 of whom had been released, denied the sodomy allegation. Their defense lawyer has said that they used force to defend themselves against a detainee who attacked them during a search but did not abuse him. Wow, that sounds really familiar. Well, we didn't kill him. We were just defending ourselves. He attacked us first. The Israeli army says 36 Palestinian prisoners have died in military-run detention centers since October. According to autopsy reports for 5 of the detainees, 2 bore signs of physical trauma such as broken ribs, while the death of a 3rd could have been avoided if there had been greater care for his medical needs. So, I mean, they're literally just being in captivity. If we're talking about people being with their bare hands or by bare hands, then like, these are people who died. The reports were provided to the AP by Physicians for Human Rights Israel, an Israeli rights organization whose doctors preserved the autopsies. But according to Abayat and the others who spoke to the AP, conditions in those facilities are traumatic as well. Munther Amira, a West Bank political activist who was held in Ofer prison, said guards regularly beat detainees for punishment or often for no reason at all. He said he and 12 others shared a cell with only 6 beds and a few thin blankets. Freezing during the winter months when prisoners had to go to the bathroom, they were handcuffed and bent over, and they were let outside for only 15 minutes twice a week, he said. Amir was held in administrative detention apparently over his Facebook post critical of Israel. If we're talking about like the crimes that Israel arrests people for, Facebook posts critical of Israel and you're held for this many months. You lost 72 pounds during 3 months. He lost 72 pounds in 3 months because of Facebook posts. Since war began, Palestinian prison population is nearly doubled to over 10,000, including detainees from Gaza and several thousand people seized from the West Bank and East Jerusalem. All former detainees who spoke at length said hunger was perhaps their greatest challenge. Breakfast was 9 ounces of yogurt and a single tomato or pepper shared among 5 people. Ramallah-based retired Arabic language professor also held that over. He too said he was interrogated over a social media post. I mean, man, yeah, these prison conditions are horrible.
So we got some audio actually from a Young Turks member that was able to participate in this secret Zoom call. That I guess it's not secret. They advertise that it's a member-only perk, but either way, we had a viewer who was able to, take part in this town hall or this Zoom call with Jank and spilled a little bit of the audio from that encounter with Jank, where he actually previews a pretty interesting but pretty pathetic, pretty hilarious plan for the future, in addition to addressing his recent change in posture towards the right wing. Some pretty interesting and quite revealing comments here that I think you guys are going to be very interested. And like I said, it culminates in an announcement here that is, I think, going to be a huge flop if it ever actually comes to fruition, which it seems like it will.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen. I haven't heard this audio yet. I've got the TLDR from my man over here, but I'll reserve any commentary until I've heard it with my own ears in the more packed circle.
All right, let's take a look. And this is about 5 minutes of audio from the Zoom call. I did verify the Zoom call behind the scenes, so I know this is 100% legitimate audio. The reason why we decided to play it for you guys as audio and not the actual original Zoom call is because we didn't want to put all these random TYT members' face on the screen. You know, there's a lot of just normal people that were on the Zoom call, and I don't know if they want to be broadcast to our YouTube audience of, 1,000-2,000 live viewers, whatever. So we're not trying to, expose any of these normies, any of these random folks that are just part of the TYT army, right? So just in case anyone didn't want to have their likeness compromised, we did decide to release this as audio only. But with all that said, let's take a look.
Yep, let's get into it.
The Democratic leadership in a lot of ways adopts some of the far left positions and gets into the culture war. So now we're having these giant culture wars. Oh, perfect. Everyone's super divided. And God, we hate the right wing. And if you're saying, hey, Jake, if you're on the right or the left, hey, didn't you hate the right wing? Oh, yeah, goddamn right I did. Didn't you say that some of the biggest things, the harshest things against the right wing? Goddamn right I did. Okay. And so that's when we needed warriors. And I went to war, and I didn't mind fighting those guys at all. And so, and their far right has done terrible things and continues to do terrible things. Okay, so what has changed now? Is it that the right wing is perfectly great and we should go to the right? No. The far right is still the far right. They're still super dangerous. And there are different wings, guys. There's the ethno-nationalists. Jesus Christ, God help us, okay? There's still the fundamentalist Christian right. There's the guys who hate immigrants, hate trans people, hate this, hate that, right? So
I'm still trying to figure out which ones of these guys aren't the Nazis. Yeah, don't call them Nazis. It's bad to call them Nazis. You can't call them fascists or Nazis. And then he goes ahead and he lists a group of individuals that I think would tell you themselves. Oh, yeah, I think the Nazis were pretty misunderstood. So still waiting for the groups, the folks we're supposed to collaborate with.
What percentage of the Republican Party is that? We can debate that. But is that a real percentage? Of course it is. Okay, and that's never gone away, and that's there. I think it's a smaller percentage these days. Again, we can debate that, but it's definitely there. So, but they're not in charge. And Trump, at the end of the day, what is he? Is he those things? Maybe he's one of those things, and maybe they have an ideology, and Elon does, and Bannon does. It's really Bannon does. Bannon has an ideology, half of which, or a third of which is, interestingly, populace agrees with us, 2/3. Terrible, right? So
yeah, one of those guys is throwing up a Sieg Heil. Can't figure out what his ideology is. He's the world's richest man, and he made his what was his name? Kekius Maximus. Fucking everything. He's saying the quiet part out loud. Next, Jenkins gonna tell us, sometimes there's people with absolutely no ideology, like Kanye West. It's like, bro, they have an ideology. They told you what it was. They love Hitler. They love the Nazis, okay? They want to go on tangents about the globalists, right? And those people are a huge problem for the left because we actually care about humanity, okay? They're not our allies. They're not just guys who are sticking their fingers in the wind. Do you know what Trump's ideology is? Trump. Narcissism, whatever is good for Donald Trump in the moment, okay? And what's good for Donald Trump is not good for any of the people who are tuning into this broadcast. So why are you gish galloping and talking out of both sides of your mouth to your own people on a private paywall broadcast?
What I sense now is finally getting to the point that, and this is this, I think, what some of you are sensing in me, and what is causing some of the, ruckus, is I think that the right way to go now is peacemaker rather than warrior. And so, and now let me tell you why.
And imagine that being your takeaway, not only from the Democrats' humiliating defeat to Donald Trump, but everything that we've seen from this fascist administration since it's taken power, Zach. It's been swift. It's been brazen. There's been no regard for norms, laws, the Constitution, etc. And Cenk's notion, his big idea now is that, oh, it's time to lay down the weapons. Now it's time to be a peacemaker, not a warrior. Now, after suffering this great defeat, he's decided to adopt the ideology that to win, you actually don't have to fight. No, in order to win, you must fight. You must fight to win. That's like the #1 rule of war, but also politics, to be honest. I mean, that's crazy to say that, oh, by surrendering, by laying down our weapons, and let's try the peacemaker approach, that somehow that's going to get us to where we need to be in defeating this fascist administration.
This is why you cannot trust Cenk. This is why you cannot take Cenk at face value. I used to, for a long time, sit in this chair and be like, well, Cenk is a mixed bag. He's 50-50. If you get him on Piers Morgan and he's talking about Palestine, he's really good. No, you cannot trust Cenk further than you could throw him, and I can't pick his heavy ass up, okay? I don't trust him at all. The reality is that this is an entirely incoherent political message that has only accomplished one thing, and that is to denigrate the left. That is to fracture the left. That is to impede the left from progress. First, he did that by dismissing and diminishing the horrors and the threat of Donald Trump and his rise and his fascist impulses. He did that over and over and over and over again. And he went on a right-wing media tour where he talked shit on the people who were doing the most to stand up to Donald Trump, like Sam Cedar and everybody else on the left. Oh, I can't talk to Mike Figueredo. Oh, I can't talk to the Humanist Report and Rational National and Kyle Kalinske. They're all scum. Right, but who can I talk to? Patrick Bet David. You know, oh, who can I talk to? Ben Shapiro. Who can I talk to? Glenn Beck. All these horrible monsters. He's willing to break bread with them. And then on a dime, guys, on an absolute fucking dime, last night, Anna Kasparian is going to pretend that she knew that Donald Trump was going to do all of this evil shit all along, and it's actually the Democrats who aren't doing the right kind of resistance now. Now, Cenk has decided to abandon his he's not a Nazi, and let's give us everybody the Hakeem Jeffries response, which is, what are we supposed to do? Do we just have to twiddle our thumbs and let fascism overrun us, right? All he's doing is being like, okay, it didn't work when I just tried to jerk off the Republicans. Now I'm going to go for the second dumbest group of people who just want to hear me stroke off the Democrats. And I'm just going to rebuild from scratch and pretend I never, gratified and laundered the reputation of all these dopey, insincere Republicans, right? Like he did. And now I'm just going to go back to being like a lazy pantsuit nation resistance liberal.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see, because it's kind of bizarre and incoherent. He makes this statement, right? Basically admitting defeat, saying that, oh, I've spent all these years as a warrior, but no longer. Now it's time to be a peacemaker, which really just means, going to dinner with RFK and hanging out with Dr. Phil. That's what it actually means, guys, being a peacemaker. Getting an invite to some cocktail party with Ben Shapiro so he can make peace, right? Pathetic, right? But so he just said that. A pretty weird preface to the announcement that's coming. Let's keep listening.
The guy who started the war in a lot of ways initially, right? Yes, but okay, we've been talking on Operation Hope, especially for the diehards here that have been here for over a year. Or like, okay, yes, but what do we do next? What do we do? How do we put this into action, right? Well, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do Justice Democrats again because it was so hard and we pulled off miracles and then it got misdirected, right? But we're going to do something along those lines, okay? And we're going to gather up folks.
You're off to a bad start when you're literally lifting up the bar and you're getting a back spasm. It's not looking good, dude. The bar, it can vary from place to place, but it's either 45 or 35 pounds. Oh, Blade. Yikes. He's gonna die in this gym, I believe. And you know, that would always be the motto of the biggest bodybuilders of all time. So maybe he's on to something. But I think it's a bad sign. His form throughout this video is pretty atrocious. I typically don't like to chirp people that are going to the gym because they're making an effort to change themselves, which is obviously good. But like, since that DUI video with Blade, I feel like I've really shifted away. You know, for a long time he was just being a nonce in public and just, you know, digging his grave early. And it's like, yeah, you know, it's mostly self-inflicted items, or it's inflicted against Beck. You know, there's not a lot of outside force. The DUI video really pushed me over the edge a little bit. And at this point, Blade's what, like 40 almost? It's just like, it's too far gone. He's been drinking so heavily for over a decade. Like, his muscles are atrophying. He's not going to be able to lift anything. I don't know if he can build muscle. You know, that's the problem. But it all starts with a single step. And I guess that's where we're going to be. We're going to look over some of his exercises, see what's going on, and see if Blade can become the next big Lenny. Let's find out.
Good job. Yeah, that's looking really good. I'm doing like back there what I'm doing. Yeah, slow down a little bit. Like, it's okay to like go like that, like to like push your hips back. Okay. Like you don't have to go like back, but yeah, anything, just make sure it feels comfortable. Yeah, that's looking really good. We'll start loading up mine. We got the lead. Now hold.
This is actually a really good start for Blade to work out. I think if you've never worked out before and you're trying to consider working out, I think the two biggest things you can do to get yourself started are do body weight exercises and cardio. I think those two will progressively build up your muscle and get you ready to be able to move to free weights or machines or whatever you want to do. And it also helps you be able to observe other people in the gym. That's how I did it, you know. I worked out when I was in high school for sports and stuff, but over time you forget things, or there are certain exercises that you don't primarily focus on or whatever. And looking at other people and seeing what they're doing is the easiest way to learn how to use a machine or lift properly or do whatever. So him doing body weight exercises, I think, is a great start, because it's very obvious that he doesn't have any form for any exercise he does, and it's also obvious that his body is just decaying, so like he doesn't have a basis to be able to like lift anything. So might as well start with your own weight. I also like to chime in his leg wounds, man. It's looking bad, dude. Like, he's got yellowing and graying and like red marks all over his legs. It's bad, and you can tell in some of these subsequent clips that lifting is just completely painful, I'm sure, for him. So they're doing leg day today. We'll see, you know. Any amount of exercise will be painful for him, so I never have gotten this guy's name. He's been on the RV for a little bit, the younger guy that's giving him tips or whatever. he's not giving him great advice, because you can see this is some of the worst form I've ever seen for somebody doing a squat. The bar isn't centered on his back. He's also holding it at 2 different distances. So typically when you're lifting from the back, you want your hands to be evenly placed from where your traps are. So he has one hand that's close and he has one hand that's far. And you can tell when he lifted it over his shoulders, there's something wrong with his like rotator cuffs or something, because he was in pain just lifting the bar and put over his head. So, you know, having that off balance, if he ever puts weight, he's gonna fall and he's gonna hurt himself because he's not gonna be squatting evenly. The other problem is he can't squat really at all. He doesn't have the muscle strength, and you can tell by how his feet are constantly shifting under him. He doesn't have the solid foundation to be able to squat. And I'm not really criticizing this, because squatting has been, well, since I've gotten older, squatting has been one of the harder things to keep right, you know. And I don't know if I include any of the clips, but the younger guy's doing 245s on each side for squatting, which is pretty good, especially for his size. But Blade, you know, just telling him to do whatever feels right, no. Focus on form. And part of the thing too is when he was doing the bodyweight exercises, he's leaning a little bit too far forward. You can sort of get away with that because of his gut. His gut's going to make him lean, and it's going to make him shift forward. Typically you want to be sitting vertically, but for this, everything's wrong. I don't advise him to do any of this. He doesn't stick with it for super long, which I think is beneficial for himself and for everybody around, because I'm just like sitting here waiting for him to like tear his knee or like tear his hamstring. It's just not looking good. See, he has really good form, and he mentions later on that essentially he's only been working out for like a year consistently, and he's just sort of relying on previous knowledge. He's not like a certified trainer or anything. Obviously, he's on this drinking tour with Blade. But doing 225 squat is pretty impressive, at least to me. You know, this guy probably weighs like 170 pounds. 225 is pretty good.
Welcome to one of the most disgusting podcasts I've ever seen. A podcast from prison, from a guy who went to jail for costing people billions of dollars. Eventually, he basically lucked out because crypto markets ramped back up. So luckily, people are getting their money back. And now he's making a case that maybe he should be pardoned. Maybe he should get off. We're talking, of course, about Sam Bankman-Fried, the person behind FTX, Alameda gambling billions of dollars. And the guy interviewing him doesn't really care about any of the details of the case. Instead, he's focused on a very strange line of questioning, which is, hey, you donated money to Democrats. Why didn't you get more corruption? Which I know is a strange thing to say. But this is the interview. It's by Tucker Carlson, Sam Bankman-Fried on life in prison with Diddy, and how Democrats stole his money and betrayed him. And you will find the premise is basically that, hey, you gave them money. Why didn't they do the corruption? Which is just like bizarre, because aren't we all on the same page that political corruption should not exist, right? Like how can you steal someone's donation unless you're implying that quid pro quo should exist? The implicit assumption here is, oh, they should have basically let you off, even if you stole billions of dollars, because you gave them money, which is insane. I mean, it's just like, what are we doing here, fellas? What are we doing? Anyway, I'll just show you the clip and we'll talk about it.
Big picture, without getting into like all the details of your case, But it does seem like you guys made a decision at your company to form political alliances through political donations, which is not singling you out. You're hardly the only businessman who's done that. It's actually kind of par now.
It's bad though, right? We are going to say that that's bad, trying to win political favors with money, right?
But you gave so much to Democrats that I kind of thought they would rescue you in the end. Where were all your friends in the Democratic Party? They usually keep their friends from going to jail. Tony Podesta never went to jail. Why did you?
Oh, it's a really good question. Obviously, I can only guess at the answer to that. I can only speculate because I'm not in their minds.
The answer is it was billions of dollars of fraud. What are you talking about? Why weren't you rescued from, your billions of dollars of fraud because you gave some money to different? Isn't that what we all want? What is this? And then, by the way, my favorite part about this is the rationalization of basically Sam's going to say, well, maybe I wasn't Democrat enough, and maybe if I had been no, that's not why. You were a huge fraudster. You went to jail, as should be expected. We should all be happy about that. And to the extent there is political corruption and people aren't going to jail because they're donating, we should be targeting that as the problem, not, hey, you donated a lot of money. Why didn't you get a get out of jail free card with the FBI?
But, one fact that might be relevant is, in 2020, I was center left and I gave to Biden's campaign.
This guy believes in nothing, by the way.
I was optimistic he'd be a sort of solid center left president. I spent the next few years in DC a lot. Made dozens of trips there and was really, really shocked by what I saw, not in a good direction from the administration.
Shut the fuck up, crook.
By late 2022, I was giving to Republicans privately as much as Democrats. And
there it is.
That started becoming known right around FTX's collapse. So that probably played a role.
So, okay, just so we're clear, his explanation is the reason I didn't get any quid pro quo is because I also gave to the other team trying to win their quid pro quo because he was trying to hedge his bets. Remember, this is the same guy who goes, oh yeah, all you have to do is say the right shibboleths and people are going to believe it. Basically, you just say whatever you need to get power, which is exactly what he's doing here, by the way. He's aligned himself now he was with the left when Biden was in office. Now he's with the right now that Trump's in office because he's angling for a pardon. And why aren't we skeptically looking at that? This guy believes in absolutely zero. All of a sudden, he was left and then he was donating to the right because he wanted to get both sides. And now his explanation of the reason, I didn't get pardoned, which this is not why, but he's basically saying the reason I didn't get pardoned is because it got out that I was trying to win both sides. I was trying to buy both teams, and that's the no-no. And just implicit premise is if you don't give people a get out of jail free card, you have stolen their money and betrayed them. Do you guys understand how insane this is? The literal chapter title is Democrats refuse to rescue SBF despite his large donations. What are we doing here, fellas? And look, I've got to, I don't want to do this, by the way. I despise this politics stuff. I don't like it. I do not like it. However, we cannot ignore the fact that fraudsters are basically walking free left and right because of political contributions or at least it doesn't hurt them. I am, of course, talking about Justin Sun, who got charged by the SEC basically a couple years ago for pretty serious fraud claims. Market manipulation, wash trading, things that hurt real customers. This is not some political anything. It's just hey, you committed fraud, or it looks like you committed fraud. We're going to go after you. That's sort of the idea that the SEC's indictment would have you believe. Now, it just so happens to be that Justin Sun, same guy who got indicted, donated a ton of money to World Liberty Financial, which is the Trump financial project. In fact, he donated so much money that the guy who leads it, the founder, claims that World Liberty Financial success came partly because of Justin Sun. He says the project's fortunes changed. However, when Justin Sun stepped in, this guy, Folkman said, with a gesture towards Sun, saw that regardless of the outcome, this project is a monumental move for the entire crypto community. Justin Sun put 10 figures into it, over $10 million. I've seen reports that it was $75 million into this Trump-backed coin, which you could not trade. So it's like, why would you put money into a coin you couldn't sell? And you're being indicted by the SEC, or you're being charged by the SEC, and just coincidentally, you put in $75 million into the political leader's coin, right? All of a sudden, what happens? SEC halts fraud prosecution of the crypto bros purchases in Rich Drop. Quote, on Wednesday, the Securities Exchange Commission and Sun sent a joint letter to a federal judge asking for a stay of Sun's case. Now, did this all come because of the donations or the buying of the World Liberty Financial Token? It's hard to know. I'm sure it didn't hurt, right? It's a similar type of tacit donation that Bankman-Fried made. So it's impossible not to look at this interview and compare the two outcomes. And you go like, well, are we just like selling get out of jail free cards to people, right? Again, not saying that Sun directly did that, but indirectly, if you literally are credited with like the turnaround of someone's entire crypto endeavor, and then all of a sudden you get let off being prosecuted, we have to look at that skeptically. Like, come on, let's put 2 and 2 together a little bit. But it's insane to have a podcast where instead of like seeing that as the problem, like Justin Sun getting off after making one of Trump's projects very wealthy, instead of seeing that as the problem and maybe something that politically is corrupt, we go, well, why didn't you benefit from the same thing, Sam Bankman-Fried? Why did you get your money stolen? And why were you betrayed? I mean, what a backwards clown world to live in, where we're having prisoners pontificate about, well, why weren't you just like, you paid? Why didn't you get what you paid for? It's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely insane. We are in so much of the like bizarro world where we're almost like trying to make everyone feel bad for the guys, the criminals who basically didn't benefit from political corruption. You did all the right things, Sam. Can you please explain why you didn't also get out of jail? I mean, basically what we're realizing is Sam was too early. I mean, Sam was too early, and if he had just been a little bit later and he had lined the right pockets, would he have gone to jail? It's impossible to say. In fact, what's sick about this, dude, I don't know if y'all see that I'm going crazy here. I'm going a little bit crazy. What's sick about it is that Sam Bankman-Fried is now parlaying for a pardon, right? And we're all clear about that. He's basically trying to say that his prosecution was political. The irony is, what we've just established is that in some ways it's the most not political prosecution because he donated the most to the guys who were in office at the time. So actually it's not political that you went to jail, I guess. But now he's trying to say like, oh, what happened to me is maybe similar to what happened to Trump. Maybe I was politically prosecuted.
By judges in terms of prosecutorial abuse, and in terms of sort of the politicization of the DOJ over the last decades, and I would say speeding up recently.
And do you think your child is part of that story?
I think that's a piece of the picture.
How could it possibly be a piece of the picture? And now he's sort of going the whole, like he's aligning himself with the guys in power for the same reasons he did it the last cycle. And we're sort of credulously interviewing him on podcast after podcast with very little pushback beyond, hey, do you feel like you got cheated because you didn't get the same deal that, maybe other people have gotten where they paid their way out of their problem? Now, not only was this crazy to watch Sam say this, there's also just sort of no pushback on Sam's kind of discussion of, he's sort of asked like, oh, do you think you're the biggest criminal? Sam says no, and then there's not really any pushback because I'm not sure Tucker understands the details or cares about the details. And like, my only view is, look, interview whoever you want. But if you're gonna interview one of arguably the biggest financial criminals of the last decade, you should know what he did. Like, you should know the details, right? If you're gonna do journalism. Instead of just being like, well, do you think you did it? No, I don't. Okay, well, I don't want to get into it.
Being as honest as you can, do you think you were the biggest criminal in the crypto business?
I don't think I was a criminal. So certainly the answer to that is no. I mean, I think the DOJ thinks that I may have been, but I don't share their viewpoint.
Well, yeah, you're in jail. They definitely, that's their claim anyway. But I wonder, and I'm not, you know, I've certainly criticized your business and other businesses like it in the past. And again, I'm not even getting into the details of your case because it's like Byzantine, but.
No, not but. Not but. What do you mean? Hey, I'm going to ask you if you're a criminal. You say no. Well, I don't want to get into the details because it's Byzantine. What? It's just so weird. And I'm just like, why does this interview exist? It's not like Sam is a darling of the right. I mean, he's trying to make himself one. I don't even understand what this piece of media is or what it hopes to achieve. And I'm just sort of frustrated because now the new playbook for scammers and people like the Tate brothers who are accused of horrendous actions is just to cry political prosecution, and it's sort of working. So it's infected my sphere of influence where I talk about scams, and these scammers are now saying, with no seeming cause, they're like, well, I'm politically prosecuted. It was all politics. And so now I feel like I have to talk about it. I can't have, you know, Sam Bankman-Fried from prison angling for some kind of pardon with a guy who has no idea about his case. And it's just like, I have to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Why? It's stupid. It's stupid. This isn't a political thing. Fraud should not be political. Scams should not be a political issue. We should hate them equally on both sides. And the same is true of corruption, which is kind of a type of scam, where you get away with something for no reason, other than you've aligned yourself, you've lined the right pockets. These should be universal issues that we all agree on. So it kind of disgusts me that I have to even talk about it, but we can't trick ourselves into like what's actually happening here. Why is Sam going on these podcasts? Also, we played this Sun interview. Why is he going on this podcast? Is it because he just loves talking, or is it because he's trying to align himself and trying to claim like political prosecution to try to get a pardon, even though we've already gone through the litigation of establishing that he's one of the great financial criminals of our time? Anyways, it's just insane. I mean, what a wild discussion to go, hey, you lined everyone's pockets. Why'd they steal your money and betray you when you committed crime? We are in a, yeah, dude, I feel like every day we sink more into this black hole, the void, you might say. Every day I'm just like, that's right, hit with these insane things, and I have to I'm having to ingest it, and I'm like, every day I'm like, it can't get worse. So yeah, that's basically it. One of the more disgusting interviews I've seen, and I hope people view it outside of the polarizing lens of politics and just realize corruption is bad, and we should not accept it.
We're allowed to.
No, I think
if we just, you know what's going to fix the housing market situation?
Degrowth.
Yeah, making it impossible.
Degrowth.
50 yards.
He's JD Pong. He's like, he's killing. He wants to kill the Treatlerites. Like he's punishing the American working class.
I would at least I would entertain that thought for more than like a third of a second.
Who has the link to the live feed for Trump? Trump is speaking. Trump is speaking. My goat is speaking. It's time to listen to my goat. It's time to hear out my goat. Where is he? Where is he being unhinged? I need to hear him.
And I think we'll do even better now. But this is something that we have to do. There'll always be a little short-term interruption. I don't think it's going to be big, but the countries and companies that have been ripping us aren't particularly happy with what I'm doing. But the United States will be very happy. And, you know, our farmers are going to be very happy. And again, they'll be disruption.
Are they? I don't think so.
In the end, I said it before with China, we signed an unbelievable deal with China, $50 billion in purchases, and we're doing great. Biden, however, when he came in, they never enforced that deal. So that's the only thing that basically you have globalist companies that have been ripping us off that won't be able to rip us off.
Globalist companies.
I think that's what the big charge is.
It's like, I just feel like he's just some of these exemptions that have been announced and some of these temporary delays. Have you been influencing those decisions because of the market reaction?
Well, there are no delays at all. No, nothing to do with the market. I'm not even looking at the market because long term, the United States will be very strong with what's happening here. Now, these are countries and companies, foreign companies, that have been ripping us off, and no president did anything about it until I came along, and then I did a lot about it. You know, we took in from China $600 billion. Nobody else took in 10 cents from China. They never did. But when COVID came along, we had to focus on COVID. We did a great job. We got rid of that. We ended up handing over with a market that was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. But this is very much about companies and countries that have ripped off this country, our beloved USA, and they're not going to be ripping us off anymore. So, you know, I think that has an impact on the market.
Mr. President, sir, this is a piece that's been prepared by the Presidential Personnel Office. It includes a number of sub-cabinet level appointments, a number of your ambassadors that have been previously announced, and also, crucially, given the administration's concerted effort to focus on violent crime, it includes a number of U.S. attorneys in major cities that have real crime problems.
Okay. So very good people, too.
Thank you, sir. And then we have a number of ceremonial proclamations that Lindsay Halligan is going to.
So two very special proclamations, the first of which is a proclamation that proclaims March 2025 as Women's History Month in honor of all the wonderful women in your administration, all the wonderful women in America, and in honor of everything you've done for women and this administration has done for women in just, a month
What
and a
exactly
half.
would that be?
Yeah, we've done a lot.
Like, seriously.
And women have done a lot for us, right? This is an honor. We have a
Women have done a lot for us.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you, Maria.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thanks for all that you're doing for women.
Right, folks.
You're going to do an interview of me later. Maybe I shouldn't do this interview. I should be like Biden, not doing the interviews.
Yeah, my goat. My goat is talking. You want to pull up?
Yeah, that's great. Women, we love you.
We love you too, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Liz.
So the second one is a proclamation proclaiming March 2025 as Irish.
So it was your Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade, right? Are you trying to say that was good for women? And if you think that's good for women, I want to know what drugs you're on. And can you please give me some, because they're obviously pretty intense. Because holy fuck, no one, literally no one wants to lose autonomy over their own body and or decisions. And the idea that like women, they appreciate, they want us to tell them what to do is so fucked on its face. I don't believe it for a second. I think y'all are lying. I think women don't want to be told what to do. You know why? Because I don't think anyone wants to be told what to do.
American Heritage Month in honor of commemorate our amazing friendship between America and Ireland, and to
let's hope that there is no
just honor all of the Irish Americans. And I'm a little bit biased because I'm American and Irish, but
well, great people.
Who is this? What is she saying?
coming up as well.
And they voted for me in heavy
it's
numbers.
right-wing dumbassery. That's what you got to do.
You're not supposed to, but you have to like that.
His signature is awesome, though. I will say he has so much fun with it. And I do like his signature. To be fair,
Steve Witkoff told us a little while ago that if Hamas does not release hostages, that the U.S. and Israel could take some action. What does that mean in your eyes? Is that military action? Would you join strikes with Israel?
Well, you're going to find out. I had the honor of spending a lot of time yesterday with quite a few of the people that we got out, and I can't believe.
Honestly, I don't think that there was any other politician on the fucking planet who can get away with, like, someone asks a question and be like, "We'll see, we'll see." Trump is the only one who can get away with saying something like what the fuck does that mean, bro? You don't have a plan? You have a plan and you just don't want to tell us? The 4 years Trump for almost broke me, and I'm breaking again, and we're not even.
How badly treated they were, really badly treated. Stories that you wouldn't even believe. Some of it was documented, some of it was so bad you couldn't really, I don't think you could put it on. And it's a shame. And they said one thing, that they have 59 hostages, of which many of them are killed. They want to know if we could just continue. They said without us, look, Biden wasn't able to get anybody out. We came along and they started releasing. But we have 59 left, of which 24 are living. The rest are dead. And I put out a statement. It's sort of self-explanatory, I think. But
yeah, it's always self-explanatory.
Somebody's going to have to get a lot
belligerent man.
It's a shame. And those 24 that are living, because they were with them just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, depending on when they got out.
Yeah, when he says stuff like, "I'm gonna pummel Gaza into the ground," you'll see. Yeah, just you wait. You know, I'm always thinking like, what does he mean by this? What does he mean when he says like, I'm gonna show you what's what?
Yeah, it's wiggle room.
Is the mic still messed up?
Or politicians.
Is Noah's mic messed up? Noah's speaker.
For some reason, the pressure's left to get away with it. It's insane.
Is it still messed up?
This dude's
Not yes, no, yes, yes.
No, yes, no. It's fine.
Is it peaking? Sounds good.
It has a buzz. Does it?
I don't know why. It's got ring in it. I don't know what that's about, honestly. It might be the XLR cable, but
hundreds of billions of dollars.
Give him the green one? No, I don't want to give him the green one because we're going to have a third person in here in a little bit. So we're going to have to use 3 mics.
Many crazy things that, you know, you can see it happening. It shouldn't happen, but you can see it happening. You see a lot of it.
I don't know how to fix it, though.
The other thing, I think today, I want the cabinet members to keep good people. I don't want to see a big cut where a lot of good people are cut. I want the cabinet members to keep the good people, and the people that aren't doing a good job, that are unreliable, don't show up to work, etc. Those people can be cut.
I have unplugged it and replugged it. It didn't work.
And I said, I want the cabinet members go first. Keep all the people you want, everybody that you need. And it would be better if they were there for 2 years instead of 2 weeks, because in 2 years they'll know the people better. But I want them to do the best job they can. When we have good people, that's precious. That's very important. And we want them to keep the good people. And so we're going to be Elon, and the group is going to be watching.
Dude.
If they can cut, it's better.
Blather.
And if they don't cut,
dog
then Elon
shit,
will
just
do
word salad, fucking blah 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 blah.
Why the people
it's
saying
the Trump blah
that
blah.
it's
That's
still
all he
buzzing?
does.
It's currently not
So
buzzing.
his
I can look
fucking
at the
stupid
audio
weaving
levels
and
here.
shit that he
It
already
only
said
buzzes when he
what he
speaks.
does.
So why the f are you guys lying
calls
and
it
saying
weaving,
it's
but
buzzing right
it's
now?
babbling.
If there's buzzing noise, it's coming from the video that you're watching, not from the mic. It might be buzzing separately.
It would be really funny if it's just
words that
buzzing
have no
from
meaning, which is
No, I mean, I'm sure there's like an issue with that.
which is a disrespect to words.
This
Words,
happening.
the reason why words exist in
But
the
it's
first
annoying
place
that they're like,
is to have meaning.
Elon,
Words mean shit. And when
really
people
teaching
use words
everybody
and
about
they say nothing, it's
the
an
numbers
insult
that you can do. But
to
what I want is I
language.
want the numbers, but I also want to keep the good people. We want to get rid of the people that aren't working, that aren't showing up,
languages.
and have a lot of problems. And so
Words,
they're working
the
together
whole
with
point
Elon.
of
Someone
words
link
and
me Noah
are
talking so I can
abstract
see for
symbols that
myself how
have
bad it
have
is.
to for the sake of our country. You can't have that
Wait,
kind of fact.
one of the moments where it was
If you
buzzing,
speak in your
so
words
I can
of
check it out.
you're committing a
Okay,
crime.
this is what it sounds like. I
against
love
the
doing.
brain.
I love doing this.
Yeah, it's
And you should
Is the mic still messed
thrown
up?
into a,
Is Noah's mic messed up? Noah, speak for a second.
like a fantasy dungeon, like where there's like goblins and
Still messed
fucking
up. It's fine.
No,
dragons and
yes,
shit.
no, yes, yes.
dungeons.
It's like completely
and
fine.
dragons.
Bro.
It's like totally.
Okay, all of you are dogs. No, you're dogs. No, you're dogs. You're literally dogs. No, there is a very high frequency buzzing that happens. There is a very high frequency buzz that happens for sure. I hear it as well. But if you
I should have looked at my Katie.
are truly that upset about this, like you are a dog. Like you're not a human. You're a different species.
Nothing but money. They're not going to spend that money. They're just taking that money. We're giving nothing. They're coming in because of the tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they're opening up big. So, but with respect to people, I said I want to cut the people, but I want to keep the good people.
Tariffs, sir, can you walk us through the next steps on this? Steel and aluminum tariffs are due to kick in next week on Canada, Mexico, and every other country. Are those going to be modified as well?
No, those are not modified. Those are happening next week. And the big one will be on April 2nd when reciprocal tariffs. So if India or China or any of the countries that really, India is a very high tariff nation. I'll tell you what's a high tariff nation is Canada. Canada charges us 250% for our milk product and other product. And
He's got
a tremendous
that number
tariff
out
on
his
lumber
asshole.
and things as such. And
That's
we
an
don't need
absurd
their
number.
lumber. We
No,
have
in
more
fact,
lumber
he
than they do.
throws all these
We don't
numbers that
need
are so
Canada's
absurd.
lumber.
The smartest people
So
are
what
just
I'm
like,
doing is
Canada's
like
lumber.
I'm
Second
signing
fire
an
ever
executive
happened.
order freeing up
what? Where did you?
our forests.
That's gonna fix
So
it.
then,
we're
by
allowed
that
to-
time, his
No, I
fucking
think
ramble
this is,
is already.
If we just, you know what's going to fix the housing market situation?
Degrowth.
Yeah,
Also, we're cutting
making
fire
it
divide.
impossible.
Fire divide is a 50 yards.
He's JD Pong. He's like he's killing. He wants to kill the Treatlerites. Like he's punishing the American working class.
I would at least I would entertain that thought for more than like a third of a second, were it not for the fact that it's also like, and we're gonna find oil wherever we can and suck it up and put it in the air.
Energy from Canada.
Like it's, you know, he wants very badly also to like microwave the planet.
Be self-sustaining, which is in most things.
The buzz on the mic is so loud. I really, I
massive farce. We're just not allowed to use it.
If I hadn't seen the clip, I would.
So I'm going to be freeing that up very shortly so that we don't have to go to other countries to buy lumber. You know, why should we be buying lumber from other countries, paying tariffs, paying big prices, extraordinary prices, and we have lumber. We have the best lumber. Go ahead.
And this USMCA exemption.
Where did you get that from? What do you mean we've got the best lumber? How do you know that? I don't know that. It sounds like bullshit. What do you mean we've got the best lumber because it happens to be lumber from America? Get the fuck out of here. It's so fucking stupid. Fuck you.
1 month.
It's just a modification, short term, because I didn't want to hurt the American. It would have hurt the American car companies if I did that.
Would you consider the same sort of exemption or pause for the model tariffs you're talking about next month?
We're not looking at that. No.
TPS for the Ukrainians who live here in the U.S.
What about it?
Are you considering revoking the TPS status for the more than 200,000 Ukrainians who live here in the U.S.?
What are you saying?
Yeah, the Ukrainians that are here in the U.S. They're on their TPS status.
On GPS?
GPS. There was some news saying they were going to be revoked and they're going to deport you. Considering that,
Well, we're not looking to hurt anybody.
I mean, he's extended TPS to Venezuelan migrants on his way out before, so.
Let him look at El Salvador. Like, he knows who knows what
I'll
he
be
means.
making a decision pretty soon. Okay?
President Trump.
So we're not looking to hurt them.
President Trump.
We're not
Especially
looking to hurt
Ukrainians.
them.
They've gone through a lot. Yeah, Peter?
They've gone through a lot.
Straightforward on Sunday. When are you going to get rid of daylight savings?
Okay, are you ready? So, this should be the easiest one of all, but it's a 50-50 issue. And if something's a 50-50 issue, it's hard to get excited about it. I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. And it's a little bit one way, but it's very much a 50-50 issue. And
please replace the cable. Okay, you know what? I'm going to end the stream right now, and I'm going to go and fucking replace the cable. Like, this is not something I can do in real time, chatters, okay? Either suck it the fuck up or shut the fuck up. Do you understand? What is wrong with all of you? Like, you guys unironically think that this is just something that I could just... Like, I have another XLR cable that I could just, like, bring in right now. Shut up. Calm the fuck down. Jesus Christ, dude. Holy shit. Shut up.
Biden for that one. He should have released that a long time ago. So they are giving me a report next week sometime, and I do believe I'll be releasing. I want to release the report. A lot of people have asked that question. You had one who had 3 apps, 2 of which were foreign, supposedly, and who has the biggest white shoe law firm in Pennsylvania, even though they don't live in necessarily a white shoe area. What's that all about? His law, the law firm. The other one had 7 or 6 cell phones, and I don't have 6 cell phones. And why would somebody have 6 cell phones? So we're going to be releasing a report on that soon, Peter.
But based on what you're saying right there, the lack of information and the data points that you just gave, does that make you think that there's some part of that there's some bigger?
It could be. Well, it makes other people think that. It makes me think it a little bit too. I say, when you have 3 apps and 2 of them are foreign, and you had an FBI that wouldn't report on it, they didn't want to say why. I would say that could be suspicious. And then on the second assassin, you had, and by the way, I have to tell you, Secret Service did a great job on that by spotting him. But on the second one, he had 6 cell phones. That's a lot of cell phones. And a couple of them had some strange markings on them. So, yeah, I want to find out, and I would be willing to release it. I mean, maybe there's a reason that we shouldn't, so I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis, but yeah, I would be very willing to release that. I'd like to see it. I want to see it myself, Peter. Not only you, I want to see that one myself.
Mr. President, may I?
Yes.
President Macron yesterday said that France was ready to offer its nuclear protection to other European countries. What do you make of it? And in this case, would the U.S. also maintain a nuclear umbrella for European countries?
Well, France is also willing to put soldiers into Ukraine for safety reasons if we can get it. I will say that we've made a lot of progress with Ukraine and a lot of progress with Russia over the last couple of days. And it'd be great to bring that to an end so we don't have to talk that way about nuclear. It'd be great if everybody would get rid of their nuclear weapons. We have Russia and us have by far the most. China will have an equal amount within 4 or 5 years. And it would be great if we could all denuclearize, because the power of nuclear weapons is crazy. It's crazy. And I was very far along the process with Russia, despite the Russia hoax, which didn't make it easy. It was a total hoax, a total rigged hoax by some bad people. But despite that, I was very close to having a program with Russia, denuclearization, and we're going to get China. I spoke to President Xi about it, and he would have been very happy to have gone along with it. But bad things happened, like an election that was rigged happened. And so we had to come back 4 years later. But I would very much like to start those talks. The opposite of what you say, the denuclearization would be incredible.
Mr. President, on the auto tariffs that you were talking about, I know yesterday you spoke with the big 3. Did you tell them that no more exemptions were on the way? And what was the reaction?
I told them, that's it. This was a short-term deal. And they came back to me yesterday. They said, could we have some help on the tariffs because of the speed? And I said, look, I'm going to do it, but that's it. Don't come back to me after the April 2nd. I don't want to hear from you after April 2nd. We're not going to be doing it anymore. I want to help them.
What was their response?
They didn't complain, but I helped them short term during this short term transition. April 2nd is going to be a very big day for America.
Mr. President, my understanding is that the longstanding U.S. policy is that we do not negotiate with terrorists. So how did you come to the decision to send somebody from your team to negotiate with Hamas?
We are having discussions with Hamas. We are helping Israel in those discussions because we're talking about.
Also, that's not true.
Israeli
hostages. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
And
that's like literally a thing they say in
doing
movies.
anything in terms of Hamas.
That's not real. So I don't know who asked that question, but I want to shake his hand.
In fact, I got 59 hostages out, and we gave nothing. In 59, we gave nothing.
Oh, they're all
Not
safe
including
fixed.
what's
Wow.
going on with Hamas.
It's like universal.
I mean, I consider that something where we're helping Israel for the most part. We had a couple of hostages.
What about
as you
this?
know. We got a couple
I just have
of
to angle it,
hostages
that's all.
out, American hostages.
Let's move closer.
But certainly, Peter, you have to negotiate. There's a difference between negotiating and paying. We want to get these people out. If you would have seen the people yesterday, maybe you did, I don't know, but if you would have seen them, the way they spoke about their captivity, it was unbelievable. It's terrible.
Are you thinking about making any changes to NATO where NATO country gets attacked, but they're not paying enough dues, so the United States doesn't defend them?
Well, I've said that to them. I said, if you're not going to pay, we're not going to defend. I said that 7 years ago. And because of that, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, if you're not going to pay your bills, we're not going to defend you. And it also went for the attack. But if they got attacked, they said, well, does that mean you won't defend us? I said, are you current or are you delinquent? They said, if we were delinquent, would you? I said, nope, I would not. And because of that, as you know, hundreds of billions of dollars came into NATO. You wouldn't have NATO right now if I weren't there. And your previous Secretary
You wouldn't have NATO.
has said that. He said he's never seen anything like it. When I came to NATO, when I first had my first meeting, I noticed that people weren't paying their bills at all. And I said I should wait till my second meeting, and I did. And I brought that up. And I said, if you don't pay your bills, we're not going to participate. We're not going to protect you. And when I said that, as soon as I said that, it was amazing how the money came in. The money came in, and now they have money. But even now, it's not enough. It's really not.
All right.
They should be paid.
I fixed it, I think.
You've overseen about $2 trillion worth of domestic private sector investments come in just about 2 months. This is the newest one. It comes after your announcement of a new shipbuilding office at the White House during your joint session to Congress. Can you talk about why this is important, not only for national security?
First cable was better. I will
renaissance of domestic manufacturing.
I can't say what I want to do to you,
maintain a strong country.
but I'm thinking it. I'm thinking it, and you can't stop me from thinking it.
We have a lot of debt, but that'll start coming off quickly when this all comes around. Look, we've been supporting the whole world. You mentioned NATO and you mentioned other things. We've been supporting the whole world. When I first came in, we were paying almost 100% of NATO. NATO it was crazy. We were supporting NATO. We were paying the bills for other countries. And yet those same countries, mostly European, the European countries were ripping us off in trade. And they won't take our cars. They wouldn't take our agricultural product. They wouldn't take anything. We were taking their cars by the millions. Mercedes and BMW and Volkswagen, all of them.
Your little
we were taking their cars. They weren't taking.
Yeah.
We were
Your
taking
little
their
Volkswagen.
products. They weren't taking ours.
You like a Beetle? Little Beetle.
We were protecting them by giving them the money, and that adds up to a bad number at the end of a lot of years, and that's what happened. And now it's time for this country to stop being ripped off. I had that done very much in the first administration, but then we had to focus on other things at the very end with COVID. And
thank you for the 100
we had the greatest economy in history. We had the greatest economy in history. I think we're going to redo it here, but even better. And I wanted to do what we're doing now in the first term, But we had so many other things to do. We had to fix the border, which we did. We had to fix our military. We rebuilt our military. We completely rebuilt the military, only to watch Biden give so much of it away.
Mark Milley, woke Maoist Milley.
It's not even believable.
Unbelievable. He came in and ruined the military, made them all woke and gay, vaccinated them.
We took the picture down. No more pictures.
Frankly, not even believable. And in particular, allowing millions and millions of people to come into our country. Many of them were murderers and drug dealers and gang members and people from prison.
It's crazy how hard these murderers supposedly just, cross this magical boundary and stop doing murders.
Yeah, they all just
they all just get rehabilitated instantly. They get one-shotted. The term you were using last night.
We had the safest border ever.
Yeah, he uses one-shotted a lot.
I literally prefaced it by saying like that word that everyone uses now to highlight and detach myself, recognize that it's a horrible way to talk.
What we're doing now is we're looking for murderers.
Phase Noah in the building.
We're looking for murderers.
That's how we talk now.
Because thousands of murders, some about 50% killed more than one person. One killed 5 or 7. And we're looking for those people right now. We shouldn't have to be looking for
President Trump, on Peter's question, are you going to make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay?
Well, I think
there it is, Mr. Douchey.
If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend them.
Big fan of your work, Douchey.
I got into
Keep up the good work. You're better than your father.
Said, oh, he's violating
Douchey Senior.
And the biggest problem I have with NATO, I really, I know the guys very well. They're friends of mine.
I know the guy that NATO. He's talking
about it. The United States was in trouble, and we called them.
What do you mean? He knows them very well. He knows the NATO guys very well.
Listen, they're a great hang.
We got a problem.
They've always got sodas.
A couple of others I won't mention.
They even give out gummies at their parties. Nice guys, but they've got issues.
I'm not so sure. With Japan,
they let people drive home when they're in no condition to drive home. Bad
I love
guys.
Japan. We have a great relationship with Japan, but we have an interesting deal with Japan that we have to protect them, but they don't have to protect us. You know that?
What?
That's the way the deal reads. We have to protect Japan.
Do you think he knows how that happened?
And by the way, they make a fortune with us economically.
Wait, I want to hear what he says.
But we have to protect Japan, but under no circumstances do they have to protect us.
Japan's standing military is quite literally unconstitutional. A constitution that we wrote, by the way.
We did that.
We made it so that it is illegal for Japan to have a military. And this fucking idiot is like, they don't have it. They call it self-defense force. They're saying it's illegal, folks. They can't protect us.
Close to 100% of NATO. So think of it. We're paying 100% of their military.
Let's see. Let's do it. Let's trail into the Asmongold side of the universe and see what his chat is saying.
Back to the White House. What do you expect from him? And do you think you'll see him in a necktie?
Well, I think what's going to happen is Ukraine wants to make a deal because I don't think they have a choice. I also think that Russia wants to make a deal because in a different way that only I know. Only I know. They have no choice either.
Crazy Trump is screwing in the U.S. and all these American shills don't care.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
Mr. President,
I've made a deal with Saudi Arabia where
I didn't know that.
Normally you'd go to UK first.
I think he's continuing with the Biden nuclearization agreement.
$1 billion,
Like Biden, the Biden admin was talking about giving Saudi Arabia nukes.
You know what I like? I like giving nuclear power to the country
that did 9/11.
Yeah, and that where it's still contentious for women to drive.
We've all gotten older.
Yeah,
I think that sounds fucking.
I'll go if you pay $1 trillion, $1 trillion to American companies, meaning the purchase over a 4-year period of $1 trillion, and they've agreed to do that. So I'm going to be going there, and I have a great relationship with them. and they've been very nice, but they're going to be spending a lot of money to American companies for buying military equipment and a lot of other things.
UFC boxing, W Saudis. Dude, this is who the sports washing is working on. A guy like perhaps one of the most Islamophobic people you've ever met going, W Saudi Arabia. I love the UFC.
Yeah, man, that's
What are you waiting for?
It's like, dude, they just got Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
The Saudis are taking over soccer, dude.
Yeah.
I have a great
Gramsci's homegirl. Thank you for the 20 gifted.
But you've spoken to
It was hurt because of COVID.
Thank you, Mr.
That's why I don't call it the China virus anymore.
Yeah, he eliminated it because he called it the China
But to be
virus.
clear, you've spoken to him since January 17th?
I don't want to say that, but I have spoken to him.
Thank you.
And
Wait, what?
I speak to him a lot.
Regarding this
I don't wanna say
executive
that,
order
but I
you
have
signed revoking security clearances at Perkins Coie.
It is kind of shocking how many people are angry at Trump and Asmongold's chat. I think this goes to show, I think that the platform is very top heavy and people just kind of gravitate towards.
People don't. I mean, I'm sorry. I think it's like really hot. I think most people don't want the education department to go bye-bye. I don't think that many people had as like difficult an experience in school as perhaps some streamers.
I've never seen so many people in his chat just like be dissenting.
Approved of your.
I love this guy. Who are you with?
My name's Nick Gilbertson with Breitbart News.
I see. I really liked your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sir.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I wonder
The
why.
answer is just Nick. Just
I really like your
and I know
questions.
your name very well. Good job, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're saying
Yeah, the
glazed
answer is, I
questions.
thought it was very embarrassing for the
Glazed
Democrats what
questions
happened
from
the other
Bright.
night. And that's not said for any other reason other than it's obvious, it's fact. Even CNN fake news said that. They came out and they said it. And worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them
You know what's
anymore.
crazy? He
They
says
have
very
lost
few
such
people watch this. A
credibility.
lot of people still watch
Frankly,
cable
what
news. But
Nicole
here's the thing:
Wallace
they're all
said,
so fucking old, man.
I've
It
never
really
been a
is,
fan
like,
of hers.
Everybody who's watching that.
And she's not
shit.
very talented. But I'll tell you what she said
Like
the
in
other day about that
2016,
young
when I was
man
still like, like
is
covering
disgraceful.
media
She should
in
be forced
Texas
to
and everything.
resign.
I remember
And Rachel Maddow should
one of
be
my
forced to
coworkers
resign.
published this
Nobody
article where it was
watches
just
her
sort of
anyway. I
like
don't know.
laying out like
not
here's the
possible to
average
pay her as
age
much money as I
of
hear.
like the major
But
viewers of the
certainly
major
she's lost
network. And in like 2016, this is like almost a decade
But
ago,
when
the
they-
average
when
age of
they
a Fox
said the other
viewer
day they
was
should
like
be forced to
69.
resign,
The average age of a CNN viewer was a few years younger, and MSNBC maybe a year below that. But it's like all these people, like all these fucking people, just they collect Social Security. Like they're not representative of most people. And you have to like think about how much brain real estate they take up in the minds of everybody in that
China's
room.
going to play a role, and so hopefully China will approve of the deal. But they're going to play a role. But we have a lot of interest in TikTok.
How long would you extend it and how close?
See, but if I need, I don't. Right now we have at least another month, so we don't need an extension. But if I needed an extension, I'd probably get it extended.
Mr. President, regarding the executive orders, there was talk that you might sign one winding down the education department.
Which department?
The education department. Are you having second thoughts on that one?
No. I want to bring the
Wait, why did he say fake news then?
I want to bring the schools back to the states. And, I've said it 100 times. We're ranked at the bottom of the list, and yet we spend more. We're ranked number one for cost per student. We're ranked at the bottom of the list in education. And I know if I bring it back to Iowa, Indiana, Idaho, I could
Actually,
say
that's
40
totally true.
states.
Idaho schools.
I want to
fucking
bring it
rock.
back. 10 states won't be perfect. 5
I would
states
love
will
for
be
the education system
probably
that
not
gave
so
us Sarah
good.
Palin.
But they will be
to be
every bit as
empowered.
good as Norway and
I like that he says, some states are going to fall behind, and that's okay. Like, you're the president of America, dude. What do you mean some states are just not going to be fine? That is a psychotic thing.
It's also just like, that's what's happening now.
Yeah,
That's the case now. And what you're just doing is
look at Mississippi, look at Alabama. Like, they're not doing fine.
Also, like within these states, it's like, I mean, it's all just about like obviously like returning it so that like education becomes like classic.
Well, I want to just do it. We're starting the process.
In the
We're
same
trying to
way
get
that
the
like it's
schools
undermining
back
suffrage, undermining
into
like
the states. Let the
universal
state-
rights
Also,
enshrined in the Constitution.
who do you think is fucked over in this more? Red states or blue states, chat? Like, obviously, red states are underperforming on education already. And it's directly going to worsen this problem by creating this ginormous gap that already exists between those who have the money to be able to go to a private education and get a private education, those who are lucky enough to be able to get vouchers to go to private school, and those who just get no education whatsoever going forward. These guys will not stop until basically everyone is homeschooled, okay? Which probably will lower school shootings at least, or maybe localize the school shootings. You know,
But
when you do
Lego set sales, they're going to go way up.
Yeah.
Sci-fi fantasy novel sales, they're going to go up. I mean, you know, we should look at the positives.
Yeah.
People, eye contact would be a really valued skill.
It's a great leap backward. Yeah. JD Pondon doing the great leap backwards.
Out of Gaza, I think that Gaza's a mess, and I think that Gaza could be good. I think it's got to be run properly, but right now Gaza is an absolute mess, and it has been for many, many years and decades. Yeah, Peter, did you have
I
one
think
more?
it was a bit more of a mess in the last year and a half, but that's just me. That may just be
stuck in
me.
space for 8 months. Have you spoken to them?
They left him alone. Biden left him up there.
And what do you know about that?
I know everything about it. I said, we have 2 astronauts that are stuck in space. I have asked Elon, I said, do me a favor, can you get him out? He said, yes, he is preparing to go up, I think, in 2 weeks.
What do you know about how this went down? Because he's saying that the Biden
It's crazy that they already have an existing
some kind of SpaceX rocket.
They already have an existing rocket that they can take
That's
back
what I
down.
heard. I can't tell you that.
But
that's
it's been
what I heard.
delayed
But
a bunch
Biden
of
was
times
embarrassed by what
because
happened.
the government
And he
did
said,
not want
"Leave
to take
him
a
up
risk.
there."
Like NASA
I
didn't want
would've
to take a
said, if
risk.
you're
Boeing didn't want to take a
embarrassed,
risk.
you gotta get him out.
So they delayed
Elon
it.
is right now
But the rocket is
preparing a
still
ship
up there.
to
They
go
can
up
still
and get
use
him.
that,
I'm
and
sure
they're
that
planning
they will see
to.
this
And
in
Trump is now using this as an opportunity to give
We love
Elon a
you, and
W.
we're coming up to get you, and you shouldn't have been up there so long. The most incompetent president in our history has allowed that to happen to you. But this president won't let it happen. We're going to get them out. We're coming up to get you. I've authorized Elon. I said,
What's going on? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, hello, hello, hello. What's happening?
No, not too much.
Yeah?
Ugh.
Are you
well,
feeling
I
right?
had a busy day again, but yeah. I'm just a little tired. I was at Claude's house today, cleaning the basement kitchen kind of walls and stuff. So I was.
Oh boy.
I was on my feet most of the day.
Oh jeez, bro. Well, shoot. I mean,
relaxing.
If you're, you know, we'll play as long as you want, man.
I'm down.
You need to crash. You need to relax.
No. I got a half hour, and then I'm breaking open some wine. I'm glad to be off my feet.
It is wine night.
Yep.
Gotta love that. Well, we're jumping right into it. I don't know if you need a second. I can back out, but
nope.
Throwing a shirt.
Nope. Do it.
Dude, the shotguns in this game are garbage, and I kind of hate the shotguns. The Maelstrom.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The Maelstrom is. I usually love the automatic shotguns, and the Maelstrom, I'm struggling to even get my headshots done.
Yeah, I'm still on the fucking first one, the Marine, and I'm like,
Really?
God, dude, this thing is. Yeah, I mean, I don't you know what I mean? I'm just kind of flipping around. I'm not going through anything methodically, but yeah, I'm just like, whenever I use it, I'm like, what the hell? I'm missing people, or I'm just it's not killing them with one shot. I'm like, it's a fucking shotgun.
It should be, right?
The fuck? Yeah. Must be just a little bit off, or I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're that powerful. At least that one. Or
Yeah, I'm
maybe
not too
my
happy
build
with
sucks, but
Yeah, this game is snipers and ARs are both super powered. Everything else is kind of, in my opinion. Even the marksman rifles are kind of all right. They have to have the perfect setup. All marksman rifles without any attachments is dog shit. Oh, you got challenges?
oh yeah, I got to do war cry. God damn it!
Oh, fun.
So hit the war cry and then try not to die.
You have to get the kills with the war cry. You have to.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
Well, let me know if you're gonna fire off your war cry. I'll come running to you so I
Watch
get
it.
a little bit of that war cry action.
Does it speed everybody else up?
Yeah, there's actually a little right above, actually, I don't know if you have the same. There should be an indication of how many people are in your war cry range before you fire it off.
Huh.
At least on my end, it's right above where your war cry symbol is.
Once it's kind of active or
When
whatever.
when it's like ready to go, it'll tell you like how many people are in.
Okay.
It'll just be like little, kind of like stick figure. You'll know what I mean.
Take a look for that.
And apparently it's pretty good. It speeds you up, you makes your healing faster, and there's a bunch of stuff.
Hi. Oh, come on.
Yeah, man, I loved Street Sweeper in Cold War. Maelstrom is no Street Sweeper. Wishes it was a Street Sweeper.
Using lethal.
Whenever I hear the word Street Sweeper, I think of Unsane. They have a song called Street Sweeper, and
that's awesome.
It's one of their classics, and they're really ones. Love their
sick,
early
bro.
shit.
There's this band I would listen to. I've been listening to them for like a long time. They're called Poison the Well. You ever heard of them?
Maybe through you. They sound familiar, but
they're still putting
not
on
like
stuff.
I can't tell you.
They are still kicking ass. They're great. For being one of these bands that have been out for a long time, they're probably they're still. And they're like a true like hardcore band, like a metal or anything like that. True to the scene. I don't know if they're straight
my
edge.
war cry is active. I'm gonna look for the stick figure stuff. Oh yeah, I see a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah, go.
All right,
if you see a bunch, I think it's like all 6. I think it's
Oh god damn it! I died right away. Fucking A. Oh, I hate that.
But your other
fucking guy was underneath the goddamn viaduct.
Just keep it up though.
Fucking camping under the viaduct. When I die, does it die for everybody, or does it
I
keep
don't
going
think so.
For you guys.
I think it still goes for the people that were in. Pretty sure. I watched Ace put a video out on it. I watched it once. I can't remember the details, but he was singing his praises pretty hard. Saying it's like more powerful than it should be. Oh, you know what? I'm done with this Maelstrom. I'm switching to my sniper. Still got one more sniper to get Dark Spine done on.
You're no match for Michelangelo. I see you.
Where?
Deploying Archangel. Enemy
Oh, come on. Give me a third. Give me a third. Bastards.
Enemy shooter.
Lead down.
Tactical incoming. Want a piece of this?
Trying to get triple kills with my sniper. It's a good map for it. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty funny because this is a super small map, but for some reason it's got really good lines of sight for sniping.
Yeah, I think one of the best games I ever had was Sniper on this map.
Yeah. You can like sit in a corner and just you'll know someone will eventually show up, and pretty hardcore, man.
All right, I'm gonna let me know. I got the war cry active again here.
I am right. I'm gonna try to come up to you. Right behind you. I'm right with you.
Oh, somebody's coming.
Oh. Yeah, I'm kind of just chilling in corners with my sniper.
Archangel going hot.
Incoming lethal. Not a good idea for me. Center. Oops.
Using lethal.
TACOM, one-star helo mission. Stand the edge, but don't get cocky. This shit ain't
How are
over.
these guys? Oh, come on, die, 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 die. Maybe two, maybe two. Oh.
Team top 4. There we go. Hey, whoa, let's go.
Let's play it. What I do, I don't remember.
In the bag.
It says here the GPM G7. Is that not right? Oh, right.
Why did this make? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if that made the best play. In case you didn't notice, I threw the Molotov cocktail at a wall.
Awesome.
Before I ran up on those two guys, I totally just whiffed it. I'll just throw that at the wall for no reason.
Hey, man. You never know when someone's gonna want to lean on that shit.
I distracted him, and then it all paid off. It was all part of the plan.
Perfect. Clockwork.
Yeah. Waste my lethal on that wall.
Oh, man. How many? I think I only need one triple for the sniper to.
I need 2 more war cries. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm about to give up on the shotties altogether. Unless I have to grind 1 or 2 of them. I might not have to, though. I do like extraction. Everyone's voting for grind, so.
I'll vote extraction.
All right, I'll come with you. I'll come with you. Maybe we.
Power
split the vote.
Oh.
As. We try. Too little, too late. Anything going on this weekend?
Let's see. Yeah. Headed back to the Tiki Bar.
Awesome.
My home away from home. Yeah, some friends from old. We're actually Rachel's friends, but they live in my old.
Yep.
They like tiki culture. They're kind of into retro crap. And,
pretty rad.
We're gonna do that on Saturday. And Sunday, I'm going out to my dad's. My sister really wants to hang out with me and my brother.
Oh boy!
Go bar hopping. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, it's gonna be. My brother's like, "You sure we can handle this?" I'm like, I don't know, dude. But I've had to do it twice. I went out and hung with my dad and my sister twice without my brother. I'm like, that is not fucking fun.
Dude, I mean, you better get your political talking points together.
Well, no, we generally agree to not talk politics. So she sometimes cheats though, and like, something will slip.
Of course, because she's she's an ideologue. She's like, she's a QAnoner. She probably can't go fucking 20 minutes without talking about QAnon.
I know, dude.
It's like, God, you gotta just be prepared to like. I'd be whatever. When it comes to this shit, dude, I shoot to kill, bro. I ain't taking anyone's bullshit. People are gonna go, well, actually, it's like, no, actually, fuck you. You're full of shit. That will never relent.
Capturing this objective.
Well, it may come to that. My dad is getting up there, and I'm doing it for him. That's the way I'm looking at it. So I'm trying to keeping the family together for now, but yeah,
I hear
come when I just tell her to fucking go to hell.
No, I mean, if my sister definitely hid her right wing bullshit from me, so she couldn't hide it anymore because that's the right wingers just can't. They love to like sick perverts who want to fucking flash people. They just want to. They want everyone to know how fucking creepy and right wing they are.
Enemy UAV inbound.
But my sister kept it secret, and
Capturing this objective.
she's like that bitch off.
The fuck? Oh, that's why he's not dying, because he's not.
But like if I had like if my sister was like open about it and was trying to talk to me about it and like wasn't like a scumbag. I mean whatever. Your sister's obviously psychotic. But I would have like a plan of attack. I would go to war with them. If I had an opportunity to go to war, like there's like a protracted like discussion going on, like I would declare war. My ideological enemies.
I don't doubt it. I'm not. You know what? I wish I could. My brain, for whatever reason, I can't contain a lot of like political facts in my head at one time. I just, especially when I'm barraged by, every day there's a new atrocity when it comes to Trump. So it's very hard to be like.
Enemy field upgrade.
Keep it all. I mean,
I get that.
I write I cut out articles, I quotes. I love shit that's,
I'm on the objective.
Bravo zone
I mean,
it's destructive to the right-wing cause, but I'm not good at articulating it on the fly.
For me personally, it's about like the emotional connection that I might make to certain positions. I'm just like a knee-jerk anti-fascist, and like a knee-jerk just like materialist. Like all this talk about, oh, there's magic in the world and God, it's all dog shit. It's 1,000% dog shit. There's no proof for it. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't. Like, I will never like entertain someone talking about God or metaphysics in general. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, no, that's not true. You're making it up. You're like a child. Like talking about Santa Claus and shit. And like 95% of these fucking freaks are like weirdo Christians, man. Is your sister religious?
She has, believe it or not, she has become like kind of a, I don't know if she goes regularly, but she'll go to church once in a while. And this is like never her thing too. This is not her jam.
This is like when she got it from
no fucking
QAnon.
way. Yeah,
because Trump is Jesus, and like Q is, this is all about God. At the end of the day, and Christianity is completely inseparable from anti-Semitism. So all these conspiracies always lead to the Jewish conspiracy. And Christianity is like it's like peanut butter and jelly. Christianity and like the Jewish conspiracy are hand in hand.
Incoming lethal.
Like you can't separate the two. Anyone who attempts to is a liar.
Watch it.
So your sister's probably become a rabid anti-Semite at the same time. But probably still supports Israel because Israel is fascist. Yeah, that's a whole shit. Because anti-Semitism is real, but the Zionists will use that fact to justify genocide for basically what's like a European colonial state in the middle of the Arab world.
Enemy shooter.
I don't hear her talk about Israel much, but she'll basically whatever she talks about is basically whatever's in her Instagram feed at that moment. That's pretty much what been able to figure out, you know.
Yeah, her. I mean, that could be up in the air, but I'm assuming she's probably not. I mean, if she was like if she was like, I mean, because like the natural end, all these conspiracy roads end at Nazism. Like that's like the end of the road. Like you don't go any further. You stop it. You're a Nazi now, and this is what you believe.
Taking B.
And
They're taking C.
I don't know if she's gotten that far yet.
Tactical
Because usually when you do that far, it's really hard for these right-wing perverts to contain their fucking sick beliefs and not just tell everyone about it. And if she hasn't brought up Jews yet, then she's probably not that deep. But she's getting there. She will eventually get there unless they'll put a stop to this dog shit.
Losing Bravo.
Yeah, what was she talking about today? Something about, I don't know, I think she was gloating about them cutting the Department of Education, which is just like, oh god. And my brother's like, dude, he wrote this, you know, like, that, you know, as far as like the federal budget goes, it's like a blip. The whole Department of Education's budget. It's like, you know, it's like the military is like 600% more.
Yeah, dude. It's absurdly more.
It's like, let's cut a couple bombers and then you've already paid for it.
You know what's even smaller than the Department of Education? USA.
Taking A.
And that was like the first thing they went for.
Yeah.
Capturing this objective.
Which is like whatever, man. That's a pretty complicated subject. But at the same time, it's kind of like you can make U.S. aid a positive. U.S. aid is basically like American soft power. You kind of create dependencies on foreign nations and shit. But we can change that dynamic and actually help countries. But they're just ripping it apart. If they don't need to be destroyed, they need to change. It's like the nature of them, like more aimed towards actually helping people instead of just like outside of political reasons. You know, outside of like the
I think objective. Yeah. I remember reading about the Peace Corps. It's like it's kind of like it's partially benevolent, but it's also a lot of political, like, you know, trying to get either, I don't know. Are we trying to get people over to Christianity, or is it? What do you think is the ulterior motive?
Wait, for these that
people? Kind of thing. Well, no, for like the Peace Corps, like or USA.
Peace Corps. I mean, that's ultimately. I mean, it's for American business interests and it's American political economy.
Incoming lethal.
You know, like our business interests dominate the globe, and the politics that we push and kind of impose on other countries is completely based on that. It's capitalism. It's the domination of markets and resources. And we're quickly falling off as the dominant China. It's like we're basically just handing. Which whether or not it's a good or bad thing is really based on your personal perspective, because so far they haven't done. I mean, people. I mean, okay. I mean, what's the one thing most people fucking get? They talk about when they talk about China. They talk about like the Uyghurs, the Muslim like minority that was being put in like education camps and shit, which were basically being framed as death camps, but people weren't dying. But the thing is, like, those closed down over a decade ago. Like, those don't exist. And like most of these relationships that China builds, specifically in Africa, are like, sure, it's beneficial for them, but it's like it's also way more beneficial for them, for, you know, these nations that China is investing in, than it is with us, because ours is usually, you know, becomes tied with like, you know, these huge stipulations that involve like privatization of government programs and, you know, basically impose. Oh, you're number 2, man. Give us what do you want, man?
Oh shit. Oops.
Here we go. Whoa, yeah. Sorry. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, dude. I'm sorry. I'm getting too hot on this shit.
Oh.
Gotta watch what I say.
Right.
Fascists are gonna drag me away.
Joke.
Fascist scum. Come get me, you bitches. You got time for another, or you gotta get going?
I probably should run. Yeah, she's
No worries. I'm back this up. Back
too
this
long,
up.
so.
Tomorrow's
Right, thank
Friday,
you.
baby. The whole wait. Okay, wait. Is tomorrow? No, Saturday. You're gonna be right, and Sunday. Your sister's coming Sunday.
Yeah. I'll be home tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be home.
All right. Well, hit me up tomorrow if you got time.
Definitely. I will. Will do.
Dude, I'm very interested in the subject of your sister and your visit with her, and if you if you can keep me posted on that.
Oh god.
It's like, dude, she's like, I mean, it's fucked up, man. I mean, Trump and this whole thing. These are literal fascists who are trying to like not just overthrow liberal democracy, but like they want to impose their will on everyone in a very boring, shitty fucking lifestyle of like 2 genders, fucking get married, you know, like that. Just it's have these kids, despite the fact that like we shouldn't be having kids, or at least we should be like controlling it because like the environment's a thing. Just complete disregard for that. That's everything they stand for, and they need to be stopped. They're gonna take us all with them. They need to be fucking stopped. They're psychos. And like, so if I was in such close proximity with essentially a fascist, like if my sister was a fascist and was like trying to spread fascism, I would let her have it. I would break her. I would go to war. An ideological warfare that would destroy all of her points and either I would just like make her not want to show her face.
Well, you know, we've tried. My brother is, especially recently, has tried, and I've done my best to. I used to battle, but
hey, if
we're talking about a person
you and your
who's
brother ever want to like chit chat about this shit with me, I would love that. Get on a conference call or something.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Discuss your sister.
yeah. Let's go.
All right, bro.
Let's pencil that in.
I'm getting all worked up, dude.
He'd love to talk about it if we ever get together.
We should, dude.
Man.
We should.
All right.
Awesome. Well, hey, have a good night. Enjoy the wine.
Well.
Hey.
Or do it.
How's Rachel doing? She's feeling better?
Yeah, she's doing well. She's
awesome.
back to normal, I think.
Well, tell her I said I hope all is well.
Okay, will do, man. All right, cool. Well, I'll look for you tomorrow.
Please do.
Night.
Yeah, later.
You get them out, because you know they've been left up there.
I like that idea that he's talking to them like psychically. Like we're coming to get you.
Love each other.
Hold on.
But they've been left up there.
Bro, if I'm an astronaut, I'm trying to stay the fuck away from America. Not gonna lie. I'm trying to stay up there at the ISS for as long as I can. Okay.
No kidding. There's no games
actually,
with her
like changing the course and defecting to
and you
China.
know, there's a danger
on the way
up
back
there
down.
too. They can have some failures up there that would be very bad. You got to get them out. So I've authorized Elon a week ago. I said, you know, we have 2 people up there that Biden and Kamala left up there.
China can't even get them because the ISS does not cooperate with the Chinese space.
That's why it's a defection. That's why they have to go.
And they're
they have to
preparing it right
land in
now,
Chinese waters.
so Elon is
or
going to
Vietnamese
go up
waters,
and,
but then take the opportunity
get
to
him. Should I
explain,
go on that journey just to be
their
on the ship
appreciation.
when we stop?
Yeah, Manchurian candidate.
Yes.
I should do it. Oh, that's terrible. I thought he liked it.
As explained on the Blowback podcast, as the first time that the concept of brainwashing was ever used in an American newspaper.
When they come back, I'll greet
because
them.
of the
no, we're gonna get
fantastic treatment that the People's Liberation Army showed the American captives.
Mr. President, what are you making of the market sell-off?
That caused the Americans to claim that these American captives were defecting. Did I get that right?
It was that and the germ warfare thing.
Yeah.
Because the movie is about it's like a defection thing, but in real life it was like wow, these flyers, like these American pilots are all saying we use biological and germ bombs, and they sound really uncoached and like they're speaking honestly about it. It must be brainwashing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you know who else did that? Yesterday, our favorite Itamar Ben-Gvir, who said that about an Israeli captive that had returned to Israel, and he said his statement resembled Hamas. Israel has officially moved. There are members in the Israeli Knesset now that are saying Israeli hostages are Hamas. That's right. Let's take a look at the Jerusalem Post article real quick because it's very funny. I want to see what he said. The captive said that caused Ben-Gvir to say that, what is this? No. Hassan, you look like someone who has sexual intercourse with dead goats. I mean, your mom is the goat of sucking my penis. But she's not dead. Hassan, you look like camel fucker, no hate. I'm gonna unban this guy. Yeah, I'm gonna unban this guy. Okay, it's weird that you're calling your mom a camel. It's cool that you're calling her the goat. She is the throat goat. No hate, okay? But she's definitely not dead. She was definitely alive last night.
It was only a matter of time.
They are Portuguese, I will say that. But I don't know ignorance is bliss. All right, let's call Marie Glusenkamp Perez.
Hi, you've reached the office of Congresswoman Marie Glusenkamp Perez. We're sorry to have missed your call. Our Washington, D.C. office is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time while in session, and 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time during district work period. Our Vancouver, Washington office is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please leave your name, contact information, home address, and a brief message, and we will get back to you.
Hi, Congresswoman Marie. I have been such a huge fan of you, and then when I found out today that you joined with the far-right fascists to censure your own colleague, Representative Al Green, who stood up to Donald Trump bravely and courageously when everybody else sat idly by with their signs, and you voted to censure him, I was devastated. Let me tell you, Congresswoman, my family is long-time Democrats. We grew up on a farm in Washington, and we have been voting Democrats and donating to Democrats. In this last election, I even knocked on doors for Democrats. But after seeing you do that, I have to question, what party am I even supporting? If Democrats are going to join with Republicans, what is the point of even having an opposition party? You might as well join the Republicans. If you're going to vote to censure somebody in your own party for doing the good work for their constituents, getting into good trouble, while no other Democrat would dare put themselves on the line like that, I've got to ask, why are you even in this party, Marie? It seems like you should be a Republican. It seems like you prefer to be a Republican, given all of your donations and votes that you make. So I've just got to ask, as somebody who has been a fan of you you have shaken my faith. So I want to know, why are you even in Congress? Why even a Democrat? Why not just become a lobbyist already? It doesn't make sense to be there if you're just going to be a Republican. Just switch parties, Queen. That's...
First call was better. Aside from Grandpappy was possibly in the KKK, the first call was better.
Yeah, I was going to go down the farm rabbit hole, but then I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about farms, so I just talk about milking cows and shit, and it wouldn't work. Yeah. Maybe I'll call Jared Moskowitz. That'll be the last one unless anybody else wants to. Because I am still mad that he censured Rashida Tlaib.
I'm loving this. No, keep going.
I really want to call Jared at least. I have to call Jared. I have to. Because he voted for both of them. So
Florida's 23rd.
I would stick to the first one where you just seemed like you were the second one was a little bit too activisty. Second one was a little bit too activisty.
Okay, he's gonna get the sense that I'm like a leftist. That's a good
Democratic base guy. Just you support you don't pay too much attention to politics in the end, but you're super anti-Trump. That's the type that
the normies.
They really notice.
They don't want to listen to normies.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great angle actually. All right, I'm gonna call now.
Definitely don't call him Queen.
Extension number 5300.
I'll call him Queen if I want
Didn't
to.
answer. You've reached the voicemail of Honorable Jerry Moskowitz main line. Please leave a message.
Hi, Jared Moskowitz. I'm a lifelong Democratic Party voter and donor. I actually maxed out last election cycle to my Democratic representative, but I just wanted to let you know that I am disgusted by your vote to censure Al Green. This is not the first time that you joined with fascists to censure one of your colleagues. You also voted to censure the only Palestinian American in Congress, Rashida Tlaib, not that long ago. So my question is, why do you always do this showboating and pretend like you are against Republicans? You show up with the Putin mask to own Republicans as if they're beholden to Putin. You will, talk a lot and share those videos of you owning one of the Republicans on social media on a committee hearing, but yet you vote with them so much. You align with them. You condemn your own colleagues with these fascists. And I just gotta wonder, why not just join them? Like it's an act. We all see through you. You're not fooling anybody. You are a liar. You're a huckster. Like, what are you doing in Congress? So you should probably just resign, become a lobbyist already, because what you're doing is so transparent. And I think that you think that we're fooled, but we're not fooled at all. So resign, Queen. All right.
I love how you maxed
We're like,
out.
be more normie, and he goes further.
Right.
Misdirection.
Yeah, you went full theater kid with that one. I am the max donor.
Max donor.
The first call, everyone who wants to call, listen to the first call. That was the best one in terms of how you should.
The first time's always the best. You get rusty after time. Usually, practice makes perfect, but
I think the issue is that Mike is actually really fucking pissed off, so he's having a hard time suppressing.
Right. Like shaking. The issue is he's the only one calling. All right, everyone should be doing this. Great on Mike for setting an example. You should do this. This is part of the democracy. You have a right to call, your elected lawmakers and tell them they are doing a shit ass job, and they are not just like collaborators, but they are actively letting fascists take over. Get on Mike.
Who was the first call you made again? Who was that? That was
Jim Hines. Right? Jim Hines.
Someone should call directly after you, Mike, and be like, I'm that last caller's Confederate great grandfather, and I'm here to say.
I'll say.
Oh my God.
99% sure. 99.9% sure. Like, I'm glad.
Point one. That point one.
It's 0.01.
All right, no, it's point one. But I want to
oh yeah,
Ethan,
0.1. Yeah,
you might need to watch out for that 0.1.
Yeah.
You might have an issue with that 0.1. I'm just letting you know.
Oh yeah, this is the other drama, of course. This is how you know these people don't actually care about anti-Semitism. They'll side with a Nazi-saluting great replacement theory, pushing race science, believing trans-hating, ketamine snorting incel if it means deplatforming anti-Zionists. Yeah, look at that. Elon and Twitch battle incoming. That's right. Elon Musk is a little bit closer to what's going on. Elon Musk is paying attention to what's going on, the drama specifically. Elon Musk acknowledged the ongoing moderation issues at Twitch, which I think is weird and it makes me uncomfortable.
Fuck
I mean, I'll
Elon
say
Musk
this,
and
like
his
Elon Musk
stupid
like
fucking
acknowledges a
skull.
lot, like he posts and consumes so much media that I've like lost some track of what actually he gives a shit about.
It was nice knowing you. Nah, he's too busy saving the country, man. Don't worry.
You rich bitch.
Yeah, he's doing.
You know, we actually came up with an algorithm.
Yeah.
To look at us on. Yeah, it's called.
I hate these like quote unquote apolitical f***ing accounts like Fearbuck and shit that always do like right wing. They always do like right wing shit. Elon Musk acknowledged the ongoing moderation issues at Twitch. Ethan Klein gets a 30-day ban on Twitch for playing the Hassan content nuke. Seems like a lot of people need to be fired at Twitch. Ethan Klein reacts live to his 30-day Twitch ban for playing the Hassan content nuke on loop. Oh my God. It got banned for encouraging and glorifying extreme violence. That's Hassan's content nuke that's on the platform that didn't get in trouble for.
It is crazy that he's such a lazy asshole that he couldn't figure out what to take out of his stupid nuke before streaming it. That,
yeah,
like,
I don't even know. Obviously, I don't know what the reasons were for why he got banned. I didn't even know he was like blasting the content nuke on the platform. From what I understand, he already got unbanned, but I think it's kind of funny if he got, in my headcanon, if he got banned specifically because he didn't put the politics tag on his fucking obviously political video. That would be hilarious because he's part of the reason why there is a fucking politics tag to begin with. He cried so much to the fucking manager alongside and got the ADL involved that Twitch was like, all right, we have a politics tag now. Like, so you got hoisted on your own hoisted on your own bird.
That is kind of interesting too, though, to like that his like it's like, do you think when he steps in dog shit he says your name?
Absolutely. 100%. No, he stubs his toe. He hits his toe in the corner of his ottoman. He's like, Hassan, anti-Semitism.
Parking ticket, Hassan.
Yeah, this is Hassan's fault.
Hassan!
This is Hassan and his anti-Semitism that delivered this parking ticket to me. Because, like, he apparently on his Instagram literally said, I got him banned, then turned around and banned. Dog, I was live for 8 hours yesterday.
Listen, read the documents, folks. Read the documents.
At what point? Yeah, he's become like a one-man QAnon, but instead of having this like complex web of like, you know, the pedophilic elite and the deep state fighting alongside one another, he's just a one-man QAnon for me. I am responsible, okay? I'm responsible for everything. I control the media. I own Twitch. I own Reddit. I own every
We're going to get, here's my bet. I will place a bet on this, and he'll probably see this, and maybe, I don't know. But the point is, I would place this bet that by the end of the year, he will find a way to like think out loud on the air that you had some hand in October 7th.
Bro, that's the other. Okay, that's Dan Saltman. He said that.
What?
Yeah, he literally said that.
Funny.
He actually said that, bro. Oh, this is
a flower stem. It's not a stick. Get over yourself. Thank you.
That's ChatGPT. Would it be fair to call kelps the trees of the sea?
That's not.
Yes.
That is.
Yes.
That is a ridiculous.
It's
okay,
fair to call kelps the tree of the sea.
That's a Hassan question.
What? What is it?
Is it a tree? Not is it the tree?
Like he uses my name as a pejorative. Like that is insane, dude. Like that's a Hassan question is a wild, like what a wild self-report, dude.
Of the sea.
Obviously, it's not the same as a land. It's not the land tree.
Is it
obviously,
a tree? Is kelp a tree?
It's under the subcategory. It's the trees of the sea. I never claimed that. You're putting words in my mouth. You're putting words in my mouth. I said it's the tree of the sea.
Okay, then.
Is it a tree? Ask the question, bro. Jesus.
Is tuna a bird just because tuna is the chicken of the sea?
Thank you, Galia. Is tuna fly, Dad?
No.
Exactly. No. Birds live in the ocean.
Let's ask that.
Birds live in the ocean.
That's ridiculous.
Where are they gonna land? Where are they gonna sleep if they live in the ocean?
Where they sleep, Dan, if they live in the ocean, you idiot.
I saw this. I thought it was a cool stick. I don't know.
Yeah,
It doesn't go any further.
You got real quiet when you ask ChatGPT, it's kelp the stick.
It kelp the stick. I asked if it was a tree.
Piece of wood that has fallen or been cut from a tree.
What, are they arguing about trees and shit?
Thank you so much for that fat dono, dude.
Boy.
Appreciate that. Dan, let's just move on. You're derail. It's not a stick, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, just apologize and we can move on.
I'm not going to apologize for shit.
Bad faith
I still think that's a cool stick.
You are
I'll never
arguing
back
like
down on
Hassan. You realize that, right?
What's
You're
the
weird.
He went back to the Hassan thing. Like he just
Is the stick not a stick or something?
I don't know. I don't care. I don't understand what happens in this show. Every time I see it's probably because like people that are clipping it to are most likely clipping it to be like, oh, Ethan talks about you every day. That's probably what it is. I don't want to believe that this man literally talks about me on every episode, but unironically,
his friend, producer, whatever, is objectively correct. It's a cool looking stick.
Yeah, I don't know why he got so mad here.
Don, you realize that, right?
Like if my dog brought me that stick, I would be amazed.
Yeah,
for bringing it there.
No, because you're like,
you're weird for bringing it there.
No, because you're like, is kelp the tree of the sea? And it's like, we know that's not the question. That's what when Hassan goes, he does this. How does he do this? Do you know how he does this, Galia?
Who is Galia? What is happening?
I just think it's really inappropriate.
Oh, he goes like
I think it's really inappropriate to bring Hassan and compare him to Dan.
Well, that's Dan's
Those
fault.
are not comparable. Like
because he was doing it.
No, not in.
You see, it's because you're very bad and you're actually very cringe and wrong. And their friend is like, it's not fair. You see, that's the joke.
No, I got it.
I wasn't sure. I thought I might have to break it down. It's really sophisticated shit.
Bro, I don't know what to say, man. I'm like, what the this is not good. Like I'm not saying like, oh, as the recipient of this, I'm a victim or whatever. I'm thinking like this man is hurting himself in the confusion.
You just needed me to explain that joke to you.
Yeah,
in this universe, never like I would never compare.
Galia, listen.
Even she agrees.
Listen, I already have one no man. Okay, I don't need two.
I'm a maybe woman.
Where's my yes man? The AB's gone, and Zach, you don't really talk. You don't really speak up for me anymore. You're not really my yes man at all.
She's a Ukrainian employee that was specifically hired to smear you as a pro-Russia anti-Semite. What the? She watches every episode of Fearan. Aw, I hope she also subscribes to the Patreon, patreon.com/Fearan.
Blowback.show if she wants to support me.
That too, yeah. I'm on Blowback as well. I get extra.
Sounds on Blowback.
Yeah, I get extra. I get extra anti-Semitic on Blowback.
That's where actually he does his super secret special behind the locked door vault.
Yeah.
Anti-Semitism. It's actually why you've been Ethan, you've been missing it the whole time. All of the anti-Semitism that you've been looking for that Hassan has supposedly done, he's been doing it on Blowback.
Yeah.
So Ethan, I need you right now.
Pro-Russia and anti-Semitic.
Please go subscribe to Blowback. Tell your listeners to subscribe it. That is where they will find secret Hassan anti-Semitism.
Yeah, like how Vladimir Putin opened up the vault to reveal to the world that
opened up a vault to reveal Hassan's 3,000-year-old anti-Semitism.
Well, no, I was gonna say that Jesus Christ is black Jesus. Have you ever seen those?
I remember this.
Yeah, Black Jesus Vault, and also the Vault of Anti-Semitism. I got the first copy of the Protocols of Zion. I wrote it. I wrote the copy and put it in the vault.
It's like that, like at the, I know you don't watch movies, but at the end of The Shining, it's like you see Jack Nicholson.
I've seen The Shining.
I wasn't sure. Okay. So you see Jack Nicholson in the photo in the hotel, and it's like he was there the whole time, and that's how it's going to be when they look at like, you know, like whoever killed, like what? Oh my God.
99% sure. 99.9% sure. Like, I'm glad.
Point one. That point one.
It's 0.01.
All right. No, it's point one. But I want to like.
Oh yeah, point one. Yeah,
you might need to watch out for that point one.
Yeah.
You might have an issue with that point one. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, no, he's like, bro, how do people look at that, read that, and go, yep, that's mentally sound. This is a man who's definitely not in desperate need of medical attention.
What if there was like a camera that was just like watching everything you were doing for the last, like, I don't know, 7 hours?
Yeah. If only,
If only there was something like that.
If only I was, live in front of a camera or something in real time. Yeah, because they look cartoonishly evil and dumb. The appeal was denied, stating that a member of the team had thoroughly reviewed it. So, which is it? 24/7 content nuke resumes tomorrow. Like, I think one of the funniest parts about this is that this dude literally thinks I'm afraid of the content nuke. Like, he just has to keep telling his audience that like I'm terrified of watching
it's
it.
because what we can't say is that it's like his like Hassan's portrait of Dorian Gray. Like if he looks at the content nuke, he immediately dies. Like that's why you can't look at it. That's why Ethan wants him to look at it. That's why you can't look at it. There's all this stuff about Israel, but that's not really it. It's about just the Dorian Gray quality.
Like meanwhile, every part of the content nuke I have seen is literally just like insane ahistorical Hasbara that makes Israelis the victim in every single story. Just a bunch of headlines that he posted slapped onto the video without like reading the source material at all. No research whatsoever. But I'm glad he didn't say 99%. You know, he didn't say 100%. Sorry. Live? I don't think so. Isn't restreaming not allowed? Wait, no. It's just. Also, this kind of doesn't make sense because it's like. So am I good then that I got him unbanned? Like what's happening?
No, because it was drawing negative attention to you that he was banned in the first place. So then you had to correct your reputation by intervening to undo the ban. You see, this isn't just gang stalking logic. This is not paranoid.
No. This is sound.
This is sound and normal.
This is mentally sound. This is a man I would like to learn about the history of Israel from. Like he's got some really. He's certainly not failing on like basic shit. I'm sure he has a deep understanding of the Israeli-Palestinian situation.
I mean, there is going to be, if it hasn't happened already, like College Campus Group invites Ethan to come talk about Israel, the media, culture, whatever, and he just spends like an hour talking about Hassan or something.
I don't think so. I don't even think that would happen. Maybe. Ethan is bothered by Hassan's PFP.
Bro,
what the fuck? What the fuck is this, bro? What the? Why is he? What? No way.
Can we fucking please acknowledge how cringy this photo is? Why are we letting him get away with this?
Bro, okay.
Who cared, bro?
Why are we letting him get away with this? Wait, is this just him going stupid, sexy Hassan over and over again? What the fuck? What are you saying? God, why is he fucking hot?
This man is posing in his avatar, showing his fucking armpit hair like some kind of weird,
knew it.
some kind of thirst trap. It is so cringe.
Wait, am I on the soundboard? Is that are they posting my laugh over and over again? They're spamming it? That's so funny.
So cringe, bro. How are we just pretending like this isn't his avatar? We're all walking around, living our day, pretending that this is not Hassan's avatar.
I get him laid all the time.
I'm fucking dying inside. Please, dude.
Dude, it's kind of hot.
Holy shit, man.
You're just jealous.
You can't keep getting away with it. What? Can't believe we're documenting the actual progress of a hater like this. We don't even need to study a motherfucker. Yeah. No, it's just like happening in broad daylight. He's documenting himself.
Yeah, it's happening in real time.
Like,
let's
falling apart.
watch it happen.
I don't even know what to say, to be honest. Like, what do I say to that?
I think you got to put those guns away, dog.
That's crazy. He's like, why is he so fucking
Actually, wait,
hot?
no, you know what you should do? Black avatar.
The way he thinks it is.
Yeah. I'm sad.
Fade to black. It's all sad. It's over now. Life is shit. Everything's fucked.
He destroyed me. All right, come clean. This is fake beef, right? Yeah, dude. I secretly told Ethan to fucking belittle himself virtually every single day. Like I told him to debase himself, okay, over and over again, and hemorrhage his, older, more progressive fan base. And I guess, what is this?
Okay, this isn't Hassan or Vosh or whatever. So when I say Nazi, okay, I don't use that word lightly.
Wait, what?
Wait, Dan can't stream. Oh, this is Dan Saltman. Wait, what is this? Good morning, A. Jassy, Jeff Bezos, and especially DJ Dane Clancy. This man is 60 years old. Why is he posting Sam Hyde while he's simultaneously trying to get fucking the attention of like Jeff Bezos and Andy Jassy to talk about how anti-Semitic Twitch is. Like, does this 60-year-old man not understand that this looks like loser shit with the 200 likes that he got? God damn, that's so fucking lame. What is he doing? What the fuck?
Farm those 200 likes, man.
The armpit clip cut out the part where Galia also talks shit about the Avatar and slut shames you. Yeah, I don't care. All right, good for her.
Wait,
yeah.
Galia was slut shaming Hassan?
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. They went on your PFP for so long. Like, I think this was initially what someone sent me. There's more? What the fuck? Wait, Ethan Klein, his personal stalker employee Galia,
said unforgivable.
Go on an absurd tangent about Hassan's PFP. Galia is such a parasocial stalker that she watches all the Fear and episode and is trying to read into Austin's show and Hassan's friendship. Wait, what?
/gay bait.
That's kind of that, right?
Donated your wife, Hila, just donated $10 and said unforgivable cringe /gay bait.
That's kind of that, right?
It's gay
Why
bait.
do people always yell at me for all this shit? Like, is that not?
I don't know.
I mean, they're probably.
I don't think anybody yells at Ethan for gay baiting. What?
Or you. I mean, I think is what he's saying about your avatar. That's what Hila was saying.
Yeah, no, I think the gays love the Avatar.
I was about to say, I'm not really sure that the gays are like Hassan antagonists.
Yeah. Also, I am an enemy of the LGBT community. Okay, I am not an ally. I am a foe.
Put the hat on.
I mean, no, I don't want them to. I don't want people to take it seriously. Goddamn. I'm a foe. I'm a fucking foe, dude. What is this? This is
a lot of girls who like armpits as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be just. Yeah.
But Austin was calling him out for specifically baiting gay people.
Thank you. That is. It is.
Austin was calling me out for baiting gay people. Oh my God. What are they? Yeah, as a joke, man. I don't know if you guys know this. Like, the only people that are surrounding you don't have to be people you fucking pay.
I will say, I think the concept of friendship is being stretched out over there to the max.
What the fuck?
Man, and nobody cares. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. I get yelled at when I don't gay bait for doing like, I forget what I did, but something like way less serious than this.
When'd you gay bait?
Yeah, I don't think has anyone ever accused him of gay baiting? What?
I think, I'm gonna be honest, you have to be somebody that like gay dudes are hella into to gay bait.
Yeah.
And gay dudes are not really hella into me. They are into you. I don't know if they're that into Ethan. We could ask. We could ask someone.
No, I don't
consult an expert.
I mean,
don't say that. He's gonna do a tangent about how you're a token and anti-Semitic for saying that.
What? No.
He's gonna. I think there is a little bit of the pathology. I'm not gonna read too much into it, but I think like my appearance certainly seems to factor into his commentary quite a bit in a very unhealthy fashion. So if you were to say he's not hot enough for the gays to consider to be gay baiting, he's gonna take that as a serious slight.
I said I didn't say that he wasn't. I said that I didn't know if he would be, and I stand by.
Former senior editor of the Jewish Currents. Not the Muslim Currents.
I'm being kind and open-minded, and allowing for the possibility that like gay guys like go crazy for him. Like actually, he's like the Pride Month prize. You know?
That's
like
good.
Actually, if you go to all of the Pride Month events, no, seriously, you see those photos that like they post on Instagram. It's like, oh, here are my dates for all the different Pride things. If you go to all of them, if you collect all those Pokemon, you get to meet Ethan.
I'm starting to think that the selection mechanism for online political influencers shouldn't be related to whether you can make a viral joke video called Vape Nation. Yeah, this was when he was trying to dox the fucking. He was trying to dox random former fans who now like don't like him.
Yes, Redditors with pronouns in your signature. We are coming for you. You scumbags are going to die. Prepare to taste the boot. Blah blah blah.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm doing. Like, dude's a multi-millionaire, dude. Like, live your life. What the fuck? Just. You know, not to be like Tyler the Creator, but like get off the internet. You know, the fuck.
I don't know. Do you remember you do say that you're 15% gay?
That's not.
But maybe that's
not enough to sleep with a guy. Listen, guys, you don't listen, guys.
10% gay.
You got 15%.
Whoa. I am feeling that way with this whole
screen recording.
world. Is Jaden.
Exactly.
I'm not Jaden Smith built.
Let's not show our armpits. Let's talk about political issues. That's what we're talking about.
The political and economic state of the world.
There you go. That's how I feel.
He's the one that created this environment.
We talk about what's going on.
That's why his should just be like, I'm a serious guy doing serious political commentary. Why you got to lead with armpit hair?
Like
that's where this goes.
Dog, I can see
that's
how serious he takes this. And like claiming that you're doing journalism and you're like helping everyone for
excuse me while I recline and we have this like Boba Fett helmet right there. Like it's.
I'm so confused.
Pot, kettle, black. God damn, man.
I'm not like.
I don't understand. What is the logic here? Like I know about is he blind? Does he not see that he's in a glass house throwing these stones up?
I don't think he thinks he's a serious political commentator, but then again, I don't know. Because apparently he got mad when I said he's a comedian. Get back to doing comedy, chop chop.
10 years advocating for Palestine, like this, for a year on your profile pic.
No.
Well, I have been quite successfully, as a matter of fact. But thank you for the constructive feedback.
It's just green.
Thank you, girl. I see you and I hear you.
She calls you a hot tub streamer for politique. Okay, I'm good. We don't have to do any more of this. These fucking people are. It's just like this kind of shit like freaks me out, dude. It's like I don't want this level of attention.
I like how that freaks you out, and then it's like, yeah, that freaks me out as it like is opening on like Andrew Tate explaining how actually we've learned the wrong lessons about World War II.
Yeah, I mean this
easy mode.
This is easy mode. Your rage take.
Fucking Gavin Newsom should fucking eat his.
So, you might have seen Ethan Klein just like randomly doxing a guy who left a mean comment on Healer Klein's Instagram. Yep, that happened. The H3H3 podcast is literally dedicated an old man who I don't even know why he's famous at this point, doing nothing but complaining that people don't like him on the internet, doxing random people on the internet who don't like him. It is pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. Like, what the fuck is going on there? He has like a whole podcast like with like the crew of like a crew the size of like your average radio show or bigger, to be honest. And they all just like sit there like working for him and enabling him as he doxes people and just complains that people don't like him on the fucking internet. So let's take a look at this. The context of this is that Healer Klein tattooed herself with a blue Star of David. Now, you have to understand, in the Jewish religion, you cannot get tattoos at all, let alone tattoos of actual religious iconography. So this is not a religious act. It's explicitly like forbidden. So this is an act, a pure racial supremacist symbol, what she tattooed. I should bring up the picture of it. Matching tattoo with her Zionist sister-in-law. This tattoo is a symbol of racial supremacy, particularly because it's blue. It being blue is obviously a specific reference to Israel. This is someone who is not at all religious, never has been religious, tattooing themselves with a symbol of racial supremacy. It's obvious from the context that that's what this is. It's obvious why she's doing it now. Why? Well, let's see. As the army of the so-called Jewish state does genocide and carves stars of David into the salted fields of Gaza, as they graffiti stars of David onto the buildings that they destroy, as they brand stars of David onto the faces of their genocide victims, someone tattooing a blue Star of David in this context is doing it purely in an expression of their racial supremacist genocidal ideology. This is no different than tattooing a swastika on your forehead in this context. There is no such thing as a religious Star of David tattoo. It is incredibly uncommon for non-religious Jews to use the Star of David except in an ethno-nationalist context, and it's even worse to do so now of all times. It's obvious why she's doing it. This is someone doing the equivalent of tattooing themselves with a swastika and then falling back on, well, It's my heritage, because they had like a Buddhist grandpa, and we need to stop pretending that Jewish symbols are like especially sacred or something, because to her it's clearly not sacred, because it's literally forbidden in the Jewish religion to tattoo yourself, let alone with like a fucking religious symbol. The Star of David was turned into ethno-nationalist iconography by Israel. It's either used in two contexts by Jews. One, a religious context. Two, an ethno-nationalist context. This is the second one. And while you might be able to believe that someone got a Star of David in like a more neutral, non-religious context tattoo or something, or, use the symbol previously in that context, this is her doing it after spending a year and a half being criticized for being a Zionist IDF terrorist during the Gaza genocide. This is an express endorsement of Israeli racial genocide. It's the only way to look at it. And that's the context here. So someone left a comment on her photo of this on Instagram.
Man, I'm being obsessed with you guys when you only had 15K subs. Glad that's behind me. Enjoy hell. This guy's for real. Joe Coop. Look this guy up. Enjoy hell.
Look this guy up. What did he say? I used to be obsessed with you guys, and I'm glad that's behind me. You're going to hell. Go to hell. I mean, okay, great. Nothing wrong with that. He's insulting you and saying go to hell, something that people commonly fucking say to people they don't like. Nothing even remotely worthy of like doxing or like, singling him out for harassment. But what Ethan does immediately is say, Joe Coop, look him up. He literally gives a command to his audience of sycophants. Look him up. Look him up. He sees a negative comment on Instagram. And notice it's a comment on his wife's Instagram too. This is what I've been saying. Ethan's wife has him by the fucking balls. Everything that he does is dictated by her. He especially gets angry when he sees someone like attack him or her in relation to like his relationship to her or just her in general. Like my stories. So I have successfully baited the Zionist propagandist Ethan Klein into dedicating an entire segment, like a 30-minute long segment of his ridiculous podcast to just complaining about me. I'm not exactly sure what his podcast is actually about, because everything that I've ever seen about it is just him complaining about what people say about him on social media. It's nothing but that. Like he has like what? 2 dozen employees of this podcast, and the whole thing is just like totally dedicated to Ethan Klein, like searching for himself on social media and complaining for like 4 hours straight about what people say about him. What a great subject for a podcast, really. But the context of this is that I have been refuting Ethan Klein's disgusting pro-Israel, pro-Palestinian genocide arguments 4 or 5 months now, and he has specifically avoided mentioning me, like I was the fucking devil for him. He would even censor my name out of his podcast when other people said it in clips that he was watching, because he knows that he does not have any chance of coming out looking like anything but a disgusting bumblefuck genocide propagandist moron if his audience has to actually see what I have to say about the facts and the arguments, and particularly the fact that I have literally refuted every single disgusting lie that has ever come out of his mouth in a way that he has no possible chance of ever responding to. So Ethan specifically avoids debating me or other people who also know about the topic, who have challenged him, like Hassan Piker, for example, because he is particularly afraid of being confronted on this in a live environment where his claims can be scrutinized and he can be held to account for them in real time before a live audience. He constantly challenges other people to a debate, like people who aren't even creators. Like he invites random Reddit commenters onto his stream to have a debate. And by the way, the way that he debates is he has like a podcast and he has like 10 sycophantic, pathetic loser crew members who he pays, and all of them like furiously spend the whole time asking questions to ChatGPT to feed Ethan talking points. So it's not even like you're debating Ethan Klein. It's like you're debating a bunch of fucking morons desperately asking ChatGPT for how to justify genocide of all Palestinians. Please help me. And then sending like the answer to Ethan Klein, and Ethan looks at his laptop and he's like, oh, but what about this thing that they all just sent me? It's fucking pathetic. But the thing is, I would happily debate Ethan Klein, even with those sycophants there, even with like 10 different fucking people all furiously Googling and ChatGPTing for him the whole time, because I'm right and he's wrong. And the generic Zionist talking points that he will get fed from his crew are stuff that I've already dealt with 1,000 times before when Ethan and others have said them. I have no problem with that. So Ethan, stop being a fucking pussy little bitch and debate live. I'll debate you and your 10 staff members, no problem, all at once, 1 on 10, no issue. I'm right, you're wrong, you know it. That's why you avoid me and what I actually say. And it's pathetic because what got him to finally address me was not the multiple debate challenges that I've made to him, not the multiple videos that I have made utterly destroying every single talking point that he's ever made to defend the disgusting Israeli genocidal state. No. It was the one thing that I said specifically to bait him that I was fairly sure that he would get baited by, and that he actually did. Because you see, me saying, Ethan, you're a pussy, you won't debate me, over and over, didn't work. But what did work is saying that he is a meek little bitch who is being pushed into being more and more of a genocidal Zionist by his wife, because ultimately he's a pathetic wife guy who got honeypotted by the IDF on birthright, and he will never stand up to her even slightly. He will alter his opinions to whatever she wants them to be. And that's what's going on here. So I brought that up, and that is what finally baited him. And the funny thing is, like, I posted this in an Instagram story. I don't even have followers on Instagram. My Instagram stories get like 1,000 views, and somehow Ethan Klein saw them. So once I noticed that Ethan Klein was finally acknowledging me, that he was finally responding to me. You know, he wasn't actually responding to the substance or anything, the things that actually matter, like the facts, the evidence, all the shit that he has lied about to justify genocide. But he instead responded to me like calling me ugly. That was it. He called me ugly because I said that he's a meek little bitch who is controlled by his wife. And once I saw that, I knew that I had him by the balls. I knew that I could get him to do whatever I want. I could make him dance my jig however I wanted to. Because this guy is the most fragile, porcelain, insecure person I have ever seen in my life. Anyone who says anything negative about him, unless it's of course an argument based on facts and evidence, he simply cannot not respond. So I followed it up. And the reason why I followed it up was two things. One, I wanted to bait him into accidentally acknowledging the video where he touches himself to a victim of a terrorist attack who he calls a juvenile who was 17 years old at the time of the terrorist attack. I'm not going to play the video here, but it will be linked in the comments down below, in the pinned comment down below if you want to look at it. I've gone over it before on my stream numerous times. I wanted to force him to bring up that video on his stream, either accidentally or sort of feeling like he had to address it because I talked about it, and he ended up bringing it up. So now potentially some of his audience knows of the existence of this disgusting video and how it disproves his ludicrous narrative that he is against terrorism, and he's like especially like an advocate for victims of rape, when he himself fantasized about raping a victim of terrorism while touching himself while Hitler Klein filmed him. Secondly, I just wanted to create the ground for him to get so flustered, so angered, that he might finally agree to this debate with me. Of course, I don't think he's going to, but hey, you never know. You know, this guy's on the point of breaking, and perhaps debating me or even Hassan could be like his last gasp before he finally needs to get put in an insane asylum, because he's literally just obsessed with social media criticism. Like, the guy does not do anything anyway. Like, his show is nothing but talking about people saying bad things about him on social media. People don't like him on social media. People criticize him on social media. He doesn't actually have a main channel or anything that people are criticizing. No, he has a podcast where he does nothing but complain about being criticized on social media. And people criticize him for what he says about that. And then he has another podcast episode after that where he just talks about what people said about his last podcast, complaining about people criticizing him on social media. What in the holy fuck sort of content is that? It's no wonder that his average views have fallen from 20 million a month a year ago to 10 million a month this year. The ship is sinking. He's going to go bankrupt soon. But anyway, it's time to watch Ethan Klein's whole entire segment on Bad Empanada on the H3H3 podcast. And I have to say, if you dedicate an entire segment of your supposedly serious podcast to like going over Bad Empanada Instagram stories, you might just be spiraling into the abyss. You might just be the lowest point of your life. I just want to note as well that context for this is that is very important, is that Ethan Klein on his podcast outright openly acknowledged that he lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something, but they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog shit that is all over his house. So I made fun of him for that, and that's important context because I refer to that a number of times in the stories that Ethan Klein goes over. And I want to note first that Ethan Ethan Klein skipped over the first few stories that I made, because initially I posted 2 stories challenging him to a debate, and then I posted a 3rd story where I just like went for the jugular and said he's a meek little bitch who's controlled by Healer, who's a terrorist, by the way. And on his podcast, he skipped over those 2 and went straight to the 3rd one because he wants to fucking avoid the debate challenge. He's a fucking meek, cowardly little bitch who knows that if he actually has to address the facts and the arguments, he will get destroyed. And that's why he specifically avoids me and others. That's why he's talking about like, oh, Bad Empanada is an international criminal. Like, he literally says that I'm wanted in multiple countries in this case, by the way. He will make up fucking anything to avoid addressing the facts and the evidence. It's literally just ad hominems all the way down. So let's check this out. Regarding Bad Empanada's recent stories, by the way, I never post Instagram stories. The only reason I posted them is because Ethan Klein only communicates through fucking Instagram stories. Like, he's afraid to use a medium where people can actually respond to him directly, like Twitter, for example, or something like that. So he only posts on Instagram stories where people can't respond. So I decided, hey, if that's how you get to Ethan, I'm going to use his favorite little medium. And it fucking worked. Anyway, let's check this out.
This is stuff he tweeted out today. Ethan's this is from yesterday. Ethan's a meek little bitch, and everything he says and does is because he's terrified of his wife leaving him and is desperate to stay in line with her whims. She's the only one to ever pretend to like him, and it's just pathetically obvious what's going on.
He thought that was funny.
I mean, and by the way, this was posted on Hassan's subreddit. I mean, we've been...
Huge W Hassan's subreddit.
And we have 3 kids.
No one has ever been known to have kids with meek little bitch for reasons aside from love.
By the way, he looks like this.
You ever notice how Ethan Klein always seems to like try to make people look more Muslim or more Arab? You ever notice that? Like, he went and found a picture from 2019 of me with like the longer beard. Like, he had to go like back quite far to find this picture. And I think that's pretty interesting. Like, he seems to associate like a longer beard with being negative. And I think we all know the reason for that. It's his hatred of Arabs. But like, his response to that is like, by the way, he looks like this. Ethan, you will just do anything to avoid actually addressing the points, won't you? You will just do anything to avoid debating people. Like, oh, but you're ugly. Like, what the fuck kind of a response is that? Are you a child, Ethan? Well, yeah, you are. You're 40 years old. By the way, I don't understand how Ethan's like considered like a funny guy, like a comedian. I'm not a comedian or a funny guy, but I'm funnier than him, like 1,000 times funnier than him. He doesn't make jokes. He's not funny. He's not witty. He's not smart. He's not quick-witted. The only times that I've ever seen Ethan Klein trying to be funny, it's like he thinks that just like saying something that you're not supposed to say is humor. That's why he's been doing Nazi salutes lately, because like just doing something that you're not supposed to do, except ironically, that's the epitome of humor to him. That's also why he made numerous videos where he disgustingly lusted over teenagers, because ha ha ha, pedophilia. You're not supposed to be a pedophile, aren't you? That's funny, isn't it? That's all of his humor. He's just not funny at all. Anyway, so let's see what else he has to say aside from haha, you're ugly, which coming from him doesn't really fucking mean much. I mean, Jesus, dude, come on.
I don't even...
Why is he always like sniffling, coughing? Like, can you imagine being on a date with Ethan Klein and trying to hold a conversation, and like 40 out of 60 seconds, he's just sniveling and coughing the whole fucking time?
Say a damn word.
Let's just say that there's a reason why he's desperate to cling on to the Zionist terrorist wife that he's got now.
She's the only woman to ever pretend to like him, and it's pathetic. Just take that in, guys. No comment. Ethan's a meek little bitch. He's terrified of his wife leaving him.
He is.
This guy said right here.
He's even zooming in on the beard. Isn't that an Islamic beard? That's a pretty Arab beard, isn't it, Ethan? Perhaps it's even Hasidic, you could say. Could this guy for 2 seconds not make it clear what the whole game is?
Just take it all in, folks.
Let's take you in, Ethan. Let's just take you in. I would like to see you attempt to hold a conversation with anyone, man, woman, anyone, who does not already know who you are, and hold their attention for more than like 10 seconds, let's say. I think they would walk out of the room after you spend the entire first 10 seconds coughing and sniveling.
Just take it all in.
This guy is a 40-year-old man, and his way of arguing is to like play funny soundboard noises and call you ugly. All of this to avoid having to deal with the actual point, which is he is a genocidal Israeli propagandist.
Holy bananas.
Holy bananas.
Holy macaroni.
You got anything to say, Ethan, about the fact that I have refuted every single little thing that you say and proven that your wife is a terrorist? Anything to say about that, Ethan?
Wow.
Your wife is a terrorist.
Wow.
I know how to get to him. I know how to get to him. Returning to her herd. Back to her family. She's finally returned to where she came from. Spitting image right there. Look at that. Separated at birth.
This was a shout out to the subreddit. Love them.
Wow.
That's a
Hassan said, if you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm.
Okay, so this is like an edited, funny screenshot of Hassan. Very funny. I mean, when they try to be funny, it's even worse.
Khaleesi, and like her, I happen to have a few dragons, for better or worse, but usually for better, because my dragons also protect those I fight for.
It's not funny to read in a funny voice something that someone else never said, Ethan. And this isn't even funny in the first. Like, it's just not funny. You're not funny. Nothing about you or your fans is funny. All of you are just deeply unfunny people, and I don't understand how you pretend to be a comedian.
So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. Who are his dragons? Bad Empanada, Mike from...
Whoa, this is so funny. Everyone's laughing.
Fierce warriors.
Who are Ethan Klein's dragons? No one. No one likes him. Everyone fucking hates him.
Well, and then Bad Empanada today was threatening me in real life. He was saying he's on the plane, telling me that.
Oh, please show us. Oh my god, the snivels. Listen to this fucking guy. How do you listen to this shit?
Okay.
This is a joke.
Oh yeah, so I think Bad Empanada must have seen this clip, and this is what tipped him off.
It's pretty pathetic that you think that I would be interested in you.
Where does he actually talk about the rest of it? Hold on, I'm trying to get to him talking about my stories or whatever. So let's check out the Instagram story that he claims is a threat against him, a threat of violence. Someone called the police immediately.
I think we've been over all this, haven't we? This is all old stuff.
Yeah, it was just to... Yeah, it was to correct her on that.
Here's Bad Empanada from today. Let's see. I'll read these in order, I guess. 40-year-old man skips over the multiple debate challenges.
Yes, exactly. You skipped over multiple debate challenges to just say, I'm your ugly.
Whatever, I don't care about this one.
And he says, whatever, I don't care about this one. After he knows what was said after that. What was said after that, Ethan? No wonder his house is covered in dog shit, and his neglected children raised by nannies have contracted parasites previously unknown to science from the feces. I wonder why he skipped over all of this, because everything that he said, everything that I said in this story, which by the way was apparently compiled by this crew, without them realizing that Ethan would not want to see me acknowledging that he was skipping over my debate challenges to just post, I'm your ugly, and he definitely would not want to acknowledge the fact that him letting his dogs just leave shit all over his house caused his children to get an obscure parasite that I have never heard of until his kids got it. Incredible. Amazing.
I'll read these in order, I guess. 40-year-old man skips over the multiple debate challenges. Whatever, I don't care about this one. He says, stand back and stand by. He's showing a flight to California. Which, I mean, not that I take him seriously, but because I know if he ever left Argentina, which is where the Nazis took cover,
the Nazis took cover in the United States of America, where you are actually. And they're currently taking cover there today as well. Because the Nazis are people like Hila Klein, the IDF genocidal veterans. There's only a few places in the world where they can get off safe, and one of them is the United States of America.
I think he would be arrested if he ever set foot in America. Like this guy is actually a psychopath, a wanted, likely.
Wanted? For what exactly, Ethan? Could you be more specific so that we can sue you? Please.
I know there's people lined up to get to this guy.
Ooh, who's lined up to get to me, Ethan? I have a whole video on that. It's literal fascist Zionists, like people who post dead Palestinian babies to their Telegram groups celebrating it, Ethan Klein. Those are the people who are trying to get to me, Ethan Klein. It does not surprise me at all that you're on their side. I have a whole video about it. Let me show you guys. This video right here, fascists tried to murder me, now a YouTuber's helping them. Check it out. It goes over all of that whole saga of far-right genocidal Zionist fascists who celebrate the mass murder of Palestinian babies, trying to dox me and trying to like defame me so that people would go to my house and kill me. Check it out. Those are the people that Ethan Klein is citing here.
Here he is on a plane. Again, I don't...
Here he is on a plane. Ethan Klein, were you born fucking yesterday? Like, do you think the stock image of a plane over a sign of California was a real plane? Do you think I'm actually on a plane, Ethan? Ethan, aren't you like a comedian? Don't you like do funny jokes? Aren't you a funny man? Is there a reason why you don't know what a joke is, Ethan Klein? Why you take everything so serious all the time, or you pretend to take it serious? So that's what this guy is. Ethan Klein is like the first white man to ever successfully weaponize white women tears. This guy wants to speak to the manager, and he wants to speak to her right fucking now. And he's sending his fucking lawyers after the fucking Reddit and shit to speak to the manager. Does it not get old having to pretend to be outraged all the time? Oh my God, he's threatening me. He's on a plane. He's coming to get me. And you say that 100% seriously as if you believe it, because you are just such a pathetic, meek little bitch that you know on any other basis aside from just pretending to be outraged by obvious fucking jokes, like a fucking stock photo of a plane. Like if you had to address the facts, you had to address everything that we have all said about you with exhaustive evidence, and that we have debunked the things that you've said, your career would be fucking over. I mean, that you even have a career still is debatable, but you know what I mean. So instead it's, oh my God, he's threatening my life. I'm in danger. I'm in danger. Fucking moron.
I even think this is his photo, but I think he's threatening me, right, man?
He's threatening you. We'll be right back. What? Was that like something that you couldn't show? He's threatening me. He's threatening me. I'm in serious danger here. I'm being threatened because I was tagged in a random Google image of a plane fuselage. I gotta say, Ethan has mastered like the Zionist fake victimization shit in record time. What a legend. What is this? You people watch this shit? Unbelievable.
So anyway, he's threatening me. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to interpret that.
Yeah, he's 100%. Yeah, dude, you're 100% being threatened.
Clearly unhinged behavior, right?
Clearly unhinged behavior.
This is not normal stuff here.
You are someone who touched yourself on camera to a victim of a terrorist attack who was 17 years old at the time of the attack. You called her a juvenile and talked about how much you wanted to fuck her juvenile pussy and rape her mouth. I just want to reiterate that. Ethan, please sue me. I will submit myself to any jurisdiction that you want. I'll do anything that's needed. Like I'll travel, I'll open bank account somewhere. I'll even try to get residency, like wherever you want to sue me, just so that I can have a moment in court where I play that video. Please, Ethan, sue me.
If you want to criticize my videos, do that. But like, why are you threatening me?
We criticize your videos. You ignored it, and you feed this is threats. Oh my fucking God! You do nothing but like go after Hassan Piker's personal life in the most fucking mentally unwell ways possible, dude. How can you possibly complain about this? It's a fucking stock photo. Hey, Tree Production, stand back and stand by. You're pretending to take that seriously and be
real life. And then Hassan continually promotes this guy. And Snarkers and Fomois and all these people are continually lifting this guy.
You should take him to court and be like, you know, Ethan Klein versus Hassan Piker. He promoted a YouTuber.
Yeah, like he's some great voice in the community. It's actually really
because I fucking refuted everything that you ever said, and you're ignoring it completely to instead act like this is serious.
Hello, I'd like to report a case of serious child...
Oh my God, I'd like him to read about what he did to his kids.
Neglect and endangerment. These kids are literally crawling through feces and contracting all sorts of disease. And worst of all, they're being raised by Zionists.
Oh, yes. I got him to acknowledge the parasites. And it gets better from here, don't worry.
Again, the continual going after my family is really fucking...
This is not going after your family, Ethan. This is going after something that you've actually said on your stream, which is that you left dog shit all over your house and your kids contracted giardia from it, which is I've never heard of before. I didn't know that existed until you, a millionaire with all the resources in the world, somehow are so dirty and disgusting that you gave your kids a previously unknown parasite. This is not going after your family. This is acknowledging something that you've actually said in your fucking podcast. Your kids are in danger because of you. And just to know, Ethan Klein clearly lacks object permanence here, because the whole fucking, this like chain of Instagram stories, if you can follow along with like basic logic, there's the picture of the plane in California, then the picture of me supposedly inside the plane, and the picture of the Beverly Hills Police Department with like me saying, oh, hello, I'd like to report blah, 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 all of this stuff. The narrative here was clearly that I flew to California to report you to the police for serious child endangerment and for, as we'll see in the next story, sexual harassment of a terrorism victim.
Weird. What is over your head, Amy?
Oh, by the way, this is Ethan Klein recently has been speculating like about Hassan's own like sort of family love life stuff. Like he tried to frame Hassan's mother as like an illegal Mexican immigrant, and he's been like speculating about whether Hassan had like if Hassan has a girlfriend or something, like trying to like name and shame his supposed girlfriend as if that would fucking matter. Because Ethan Klein like doesn't understand that some other people aren't liked for their personal life. Like they aren't, you know, people don't parasocially follow along with their own little personal family stuff like the fucking Kardashians or something. So if Hassan decides to like keep his personal life separate, like not tell people who his girlfriend is and stuff like that, and they don't talk about this stuff, dude, they are way better adjusted than you are. That's not fucking normal. Like, you made your family a part of your branding and your show. If you had not become rich off your shitty, unfunny comedy channel from 10 years ago, your IDF honeypot wife would have left you then and there. She's been completely intertwined with your content the whole fucking time. All your family stuff has been the whole time. You make it about your family. No one else does. On the flip side, when you deal with people who don't make this about their personal lives, like Hassan, you try to make it about their personal lives, desperately. These things aren't the same. You know, Hassan's not talking about whether or not he has a girlfriend on his stream. Hassan's not speculating about who his girlfriend is on his stream. You are. And I'm not talking about anything regarding your family that you have not said in your content yourself. Like them contracting parasites from fucking dog shit that you leave everywhere.
Oh, the MAGA hat. I only saw the top of it.
I was going to say, I thought
we had two of them.
I thought Hassan had his own, but you're right. Yeah, I found only one of these and two of these. So
I'll be honest, I remember he's like, can I have this? And at the time, I was like, I don't.
What is this?
I was like,
Why
no.
are they interrupting my segment with that shit?
Okay, you're on. But I didn't have the heart to say that, so I let him take it. I should have told him no. Once again, Hassan, I think just yesterday was watching some of his videos. So this is the guy, you know, I mean, I showed them the video of Ethan touching.
Oh my God, this is the best part. I successfully baited him into acknowledging to his audience that the video of him touching himself to a 17-year-old terrorism victim that was filmed by Hila Klein, I got him to acknowledge that it exists. I baited him into acknowledging this. This was better than I could have even hoped. I would have thought that his crew would have been confident enough to scrub this part from the list of stories, and here they got him to read it on stream. Like Ethan Klein, by the way, he's so lazy, he clearly does not even make his own stream content. The crew does it for him, and he just reads this without having reviewed it previously. You can tell from this. He never would have ended up reading this off of his own volition. But here, I got him to acknowledge the existence of the video.
Himself to a 17-year-old terrorist victim. And now they're on their way to check this hard drive. What the fuck?
So you see, that was the joke of the plane stories, like that I was flying to California to report Ethan for all of the shit that he refuses to acknowledge. I mean, aside from, for some reason, he bizarrely acknowledged giving his children giardia. Aside from that, that was the joke here. And he's like, he's threatening me to fly over and he's gonna get me. Oh my God, dude. What's up? Like the fake outrage is so funny.
The actual fuck.
Hardpoint active.
What the actual fuck? That's just me acknowledging something that you actually did in a video, Ethan.
People are lined up to sue this guy for defamation, by the way. Like,
who is?
Actually lined up.
Who's lined up to sue me for defamation, Ethan? Ethan, would you like to sue me for defamation? For that specifically? If you do, I promise you I will do whatever it takes to to become like a legal person in the jurisdiction that you'd like to sue me in. Choose any. United States, no problem, no issue. If it's needed, and if there's a problem with the jurisdiction, like, you know, I said this when I was in a different jurisdiction, so I need to say it again. I'll say it again just to make sure that you can sue me after I'm in the US or some other country where you'd like to sue me. And then you can sue me. And we can go over in court whether or not that statement is fundamentally true. Whether or not what I said there about you touching yourself to a 17-year-old terrorist victim is true or not. Because then we can just play the video in court. And I'd really like to see what would happen after that. If you're too much of a pussy to actually go through real litigation, we can set up like an independent arbitration tribunal or something between us. We can film it all, upload it all. It'd be great content. I would love for you to do that, Ethan. I would fucking love to have my fucking Better Call Saul moment just playing that video and resting my case. Please, Ethan, please line up and sue me for defamation, dude. People are lining up to sue Bad Empire for defamation. Who exactly? It certainly doesn't seem to be you. You seem too much of a fucking pussy to go after me because you know that everything that I've said about you is fundamentally true. It's just him complaining about me saying that his views have dropped, by the way. Like, he cares about he addresses everything except the multiple videos that I've made destroying his points. Like, I've made like 20 videos refuting him on the actual facts regarding Israel and Palestine. The vast majority of my content is not responding to him personally, it's responding to lies that he told to justify genocide, to justify Israel. He never responds to that, particularly this one, Content Tsar Bomb by Ethan Klein, where I destroy meticulously every single claim that he made in his supposed content nuke on Hassan Piker. He addresses nothing of any substance. He just sits there talking about stock images of a plane over a fucking California road sign. He pretends to be outraged about that, as if I haven't systemically refuted every single little bullshit Israeli propaganda claim that he has ever made. He avoids addressing the real issues that actually matter, the things that people should actually care about. To instead, he only seems to care about personal attacks. I don't know. Like, his ego is so fragile. He's so insecure that all that he cares about is like people calling him names or whatever, like throwing insults his way, and not the actual issues. It's so pathetic, dude. Like, if I called him ugly, he wouldn't have been able to gloss over it, like, and just be like, okay, whatever, as I did. He would go on like a 20-minute long tangent complaining about it. That's the kind of guy that he is. The most insecure, meek little bitch in the world.
In just 1 year, the monthly views of the H3 podcast have more than half.
You can't be this much of an insecure little weakling and also claim to be like a epic, edgy comedian. Those two things don't work. You're like the opposite of what you pertain to be. I am to you what you think you are to Hassan Piker.
From 20 million to less than 10 million? Well, that can't be true. When were we ever at 20 million?
It's obviously true if you just scroll down to the graphic that shows it.
He said in the last year.
Oh. Yeah,
we've been around 10 million pretty much for like a few years, which is completely good and fine. I love that. My 2 channels run by one single person gets 2 million views a month combined.
Yeah, I mean, I get 1/5 of your views with what? Like